Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT, and you can refer to me as Miss T. You know it's Friday night, and I just got paid. Checking out the fellas with the hot top fade. Anywho, we're gonna review the upcoming fights. We're not gonna spend a lot of time. It's a great weekend for boxing, but this is grown woman talk. I hope that you guys stick around. And for grown woman talk, we're not gonna do marathons as we usually do. We're gonna shoot for 2 hours. We may go a little over 2 hours, but that's how we're gonna do the show now. Because we be out here messed up sometimes. Anywho, so let's turn to. Welcome back. Welcome back to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm gonna start off the show. First, I be forgetting here lately. Water check. This is my. No, that's this one. Oh yeah, this one. I thought I didn't know I even drunk that much, but this is my 10th water as usual around this time. I always be at 80 ounces. Remember, you guys, my show starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what the notifications be doing. I had some people saying, "Oh, why your show starting at 11?" But it's 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to all my Facebookers. You guys can join me in here if you like. I'm probably going into next week. I got to think about it all weekend. But I'm probably not going to be posting on Facebook anymore because I don't know what the hell is going on, but they keep flagging me and I'm not doing anything. So I'm tired of messing with Facebook. To all my Facebookers, you'll probably just get like a little 10-second commercial of me saying, "Hey, my show coming on," or you'll get a picture and me just posting, "Hey, my show, don't forget to watch my show tonight." But I advise all of y'all to come into YouTube. I'm not violating any rules according to YouTube, but Facebook has a problem. And I'm about to have a problem with Facebook. So I'm about to be done with them for real. And so water check, we do a water check every day. We try to shoot for 100 ounces at any point. Some of the people who watch my show, if they ever want to do testimonies or tell what's going on with them, they're more than welcome to join in and just go ahead and say what it is. I've helped several people thus far now and they have good stories to tell, but it's their story to tell. So we'll wait patiently when they want to come out and say whatever. But if y'all wondering what I'm talking about, I have a wellness show on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what I do is, because I study food, so I make up recipes specifically for individuals to address certain issues that they may tell me, and it's private. They tell me in privacy. I keep their private information private. It's not like big deal information, but it's their story to tell. So I'm flattered that they trust me enough to tell me their story, and so then I sit here and on my off time, and I work out a recipe that's going to specifically address what they're trying to fix. And I'm not a doctor. I don't tell nobody to, disregard what their doctors say or anything like that. I just tell you from what I know, you know what I'm saying? And you could try it. It's not expensive to try it. I do charge a fee because I sit there and tailor made your 1 month, you know, addressing your issues. So I ain't gonna say fixing or whatever, but sometimes we have ailments that we will forever have, but we need to learn how to control them. And so that's what I kind of specialize in. So anywho, we're gonna talk about a little bit of boxing till the ladies come on. So we know we got some good fights coming up this weekend. So let me just read some of it, or the future fights that's coming up in our near future. Conor Benn versus Chris Algieri will be on the Zone tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Conor Benn is, what's his name? Eddie Hearn's Bud Crawford, or Eddie Hearn's Errol Spence. That's what he is. He's a welterweight, and he's actually calling out for all the other welterweights, but he's with Eddie Hearn. He's with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom. So those deals will probably be next to impossible to make, but he's still a welterweight out there. His last fight in recent times, he fought Adrian Granados, and he won, but he didn't beat Adrian Granados like he's an elite welterweight, not to me. And Chris Algieri, he's a good fighter. Chris Algieri is 37 now, so really don't know if Chris Algieri is just one last round for the Gipper. I don't know what Chris is doing, but Chris have been inactive for years. So, or for a while, we haven't seen him. Let me just say it that way, because, just because I ain't seen him out there, don't mean he probably won't out there. But I don't think he's been out there. But just a good fight. It's okay. So that's again on the Zone, December 11th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Edward versus Mama. Free Sports. I don't know what Free Sports is, but I wouldn't think it'd be hard to find. That's also tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lomachenko versus Comey. That is probably the hot ticket item tomorrow. Lomachenko is one of the other top welterweights. In regards to a lot of people's opinion, not necessarily mine, but I know a lot of people see him as a top, not welterweight, I'm sorry, super lightweight, not super, what is it, 135. I don't know why I got my divisions mixed up right now, but Lomachenko is in the 135 division. And so he's the one that Teofimo beat to get all his belts. And then Teofimo also beat his opponent before he fought Lomachenko, and that's Richard Commey. And Teofimo got a belt off of him. But those two are matching up on ESPN, Sky, and Fight TV. That's tomorrow as well at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the hot ticket item. That on that undercard is going to be, I want to say Nico Walsh, Big Baby, Jared Anderson. It's going to be a good card. It's worth watching. It's ESPN. I think that's free. I didn't see no ESPN Plus or anything like that. So I think your regular ESPN will show this fight. Also tomorrow, Nonito Donaire, the Filipino Flash versus Gabala. Now, Donaire is now 39 years old, but he made a comeback, and he's a champion again, and he's versus Gabala. I've never seen Gabala fight, but I heard many good things about him, that he's a great opponent. And that's on Showtime and Fight TV, and that starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the Lomachenko fight and the Donaire fight, they're going to overlap, because if one starts at 9, that's like 4 people on the card each time they have a boxing match. And so somehow or another there'll be overlap, but we all got DVRs now, so we could take one and come back and look at them. Both fights are free, meaning if you have those subscriptions through your cable company, you're not paying for no pay-per-view or nothing extra. That's what I mean by free. Of course, you pay your monthly Showtime bill or your ESPN package. Of course you do. Beterbiev versus Brown, that's going to be on ESPN Plus. So that app that we was talking about. If you had got the app for the Crawford Porter fight, that you can use that same app. And it's also going to be on Fight TV December 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a good one too. I'm interested in seeing how that one plays out. Chisora versus Parker 2. This is their rematch. And that's on DAZN, December 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See, this will be like the following week from tomorrow. Another week, the next weekend. Zurdo, I think his name Gilberto Zurdo or Ramirez, whatever. Zurdo. That's what I'm gonna just leave it at that. Versus Gonzalez. This guy Zurdo is close to having 50-0. When I say close, like 4 or 5 off. I don't know the exact number, but he's close to being 50-0. And if you never heard of him, then he is a force to be reckoned with. He hasn't made his bones in boxing. That means a lot of people don't even know who he is. He's not that popular, but closing in on the record is closing in on the record. If he goes over the record, then he would be no different than Chavez Sr., who made it up to, what was the number? Like close to 80 before he even took a loss. But Zurdo is in his 20s. So he'll be around for a while. He has some more years, a good number of years left in his boxing career, but he's closing in on that 50-0, and it seemed like nobody can beat him. So that's on DAZN, December 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then Morrell Jr. versus Fox. That's on Fox PBC. That's not nothing you have to pay for. That's on with your subscription to cable. And that's December 18th at 8 p.m. Paul versus Woodley is on Showtime pay-per-view. That's December 18th as well at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you will have to pay for that. I don't know what the cost is, but hopefully it ain't $70-something. I don't know if I'm going to pay for that, but I mean, it's one of those Triller events. And Willie did, I guess, inadvertently, he got his rematch because Tommy Fury pulled out of the fight. Jake Paul thinking some foolishness going on, and he probably right, because you never know with the Furies. And then on Christmas Day, I don't know who's going to be watching this, Milnicki Jr. versus the Lumba on Fox, December 25 at 8 p.m. Yeah, I don't know why they even having a fight on Christmas Day, but that's coming up. I think this is the last fight for the year of 2021. This Milnicki Jr. versus the Lumba. And then in January 1st, we got Ortiz versus Martin, and that's on Fox Sports at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Smith Jr. versus Johnson, ESPN, January 15th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Eubank Jr. versus Williams. That's going to be a good one because Eubank, he can fight. But sometimes, I don't want to say he messes up in the end, or something about him closing it out has been an issue for him. But he's a good fighter. That's on Sky Sports, January 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Clarissa, the GOAT, Shield. She got herself T-Rex. Clarissa T-Rex Shields versus Coulson on Sky Sports. and Fight TV, January 29th, also at 2 p.m. Eastern. And Amir Khan versus Kell Brook on Sky Sports, February 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That might be cool. I got Kell Brook winning in this one because we all know that Amir Khan is chinny. And then we got Taylor, who's keeping to his word, giving Catterall. So Taylor versus Catterall on Sky Sports and ESPN Plus. So again, if you bought that app to watch the Crawford fight, you can catch these ESPN Plus fights. I personally don't like it, but I had to see Crawford. He's the only one that could bring me out my shell to make me buy that shit. And I'll probably be canceling it soon. Now that Terrence Crawford is no longer with Top Rank. But Taylor versus Catterall on Sky Sports, ESPN Plus, February 26th at 2 p.m. Those are the future fights we're looking at coming up. And so it's going to be interesting. We got Demetrius Bright is in the building. What's popping, King? He says, salute, Queen T. I missed you. Where you been, boo? Oh, damn. Okay, hold on, y'all. I was wondering what the hell that was. My phone. So, yeah, I just read y'all the schedule. And seemed like we had a interesting closing of the year 2021. We had some hiccups during the summer and all that. Or maybe in the beginning of the year, we didn't have everything we want. But right here at the end, I would say from October 29th. October. How could I forget Wilder? October 9th forward. We had some good fights, especially November. November is one of the hottest months of boxing that we've had this year. And so shout outs to all the fighters who came through in the clutch and didn't, have some reason or another why they had to bow out or whatever. And we know that things can happen. Like we know that Teofimo was gravely sick before his fight. It's not an excuse, but it makes you think, it helps you assess going forward. For me, it helps me assess going forward Kambosos and what's the likelihood of him keeping those belts that he earned. And he earned those belts, In boxing was a tricky thing, you can have good excuses, but they just don't work in boxing. Being gravely ill is a good excuse, but a lot of people would have looked at T.O. funny if he would have canceled that fight or postponed it, even though his life was in jeopardy. So it is one of those catch-22 type of situations. He damned if he do, he damned if he don't. So, we had that situation. We had Uzcategui popping dirty. We had others who said they had COVID, but yet nobody is really showing that they had they're not showing the proof of their COVID. We had Errol Spence sustain an eye injury, so we didn't get to see that fight that we wanted to. And his eye injury is legit, so he showed proof. But with the COVID thing, a lot of people didn't show proof. The Benavidez boys, they supposed to have came down with COVID. At least David did. So the fight was postponed. And then Uzcategui popped. You just never know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't even know if maybe that shit was all by design so they could catch him popping. You know what I'm saying? Because apparently you can get to a certain point and cycle off some drugs or whatever, and you don't get caught. We had Caleb Plant do his best against, who? Canelo, Cinnamon. And he did his best. He comported himself well in the fight. It was a little controversy about what he was saying to him in the ring, but we all got over that. And the piece de la resistance, we had Crawford versus Porter. And, of course, my boy Bud, did his thing as usual. So now we're in the month of December. And, we're going to have Nico Walsh continuing. This will be his third fight since, I want to say, August. I don't know. I know he fought in October. Before that, I believe he fought in August. Nico is improving every time he fight. Is he top echelon? No, he better not even think he is. He's nowhere near close to that. But I'm not mad how they bringing him along. Put him in with people at the same level as him. The people who had just as many fights as him. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not, to me, carrying. But you don't, just because he came into the league, so to speak, you don't throw him in there with, say, a Charlo or Castellano or J-Rock or somebody like that, or Hurd. No, you don't do that. He'll never box again. But he is improving. He is not the bee's knees, but he is improving, and he seems like he wants it. The one thing he is doing right is that he's continuously fighting. He's continuously fighting. He knocked out his opponents, and because he's not hurt, he might take off a month, and then he's back at it. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do in the beginning of your career, because experience is a good teacher. You know what I'm saying? And the more he gets this experience in, his time in, he's not, he ain't gonna be rusty. His reflex is gonna be good. I mean, if he's doing it and doing it and doing it, he can't do nothing but get better at it. Another person that's doing the same thing is Jared Big Baby Anderson. He's doing the same thing. He's fighting often. I know he was on. He fought in October. I think he fought right before that, and he's fighting again. He's fighting on the Comey and them fight, the Lomachenko versus Comey ticket. So again, you have another, but he is great. He is almost ready for prime time. He's ready. He's ready for showtime. Jared is an excellent boxer, heavyweight, and has a promising future ahead of him. If I compare him to the top, heavyweights right now, I think he could be some competition for all of them, even Deontay Wilder. But I think that Deontay will win. With Tyson Fury, I don't know, because we heard that rumor about the sparring. So no, I don't know about that. And then AJ, I think he has a chance with AJ. He might have a chance with Usyk. The thing is, Jared can really box, and he hits hard, and he's a heavyweight. He can move. All the props that we give to Tyson Fury and all of them, Jared has those. He can box. He can move. So shout outs to him for carrying his career correctly. He's getting in there and having many fights because, again, experience is a good teacher. Then we have Keyshawn Johnson and his brother, who recently signed with Top Rank. We all know how we feel about Top Rank. We all know that. Top Rank and how they are with black fighters. But unless you're going to put the money up for them or carry them, like hold their hand through their career, you really can't blame these young black fighters for doing only thing that they can do or what they think they can do. We would prefer that they don't sign with somebody like Bob, because we know how Bob, what he does. Am I mad at Bob? No. Bob is too old for me to be mad at. And just because you're old, that don't mean you should be able to get away and do what you want to do. But, hold on 1 second. Hey, Queen.
Hi.
let me finish. You look good.
Thank you.
I like the color. Let me finish. I'm going to wrap it up. Finish up. I always do a little bit of boxing in the beginning till y'all come on. So, I can't be mad at Bob Arum because, he's old. He's old. He's 90 years old. And, at that age, they earned the right, everybody. I don't care if you're white, black, yellow, purple. At that age, you earn the right for us to just give them the benefit of the doubt every time. They old, and they're not going to be with us long. So this is my thinking. It could be wimpy thinking, but that's just how I feel. And I feel that way about your family members and my family members and everybody on this earth. And I will hope that when I get 90, that's how people feel about me. But Bob, we know he is what he is, and we know what he does when it comes to black fighters. He shelves them, and he used them in case of emergency. He also uses them to keep them out of reach of their fighters that they like the ones that he want to promote. Birdman is in the building. He says salute at Miss T Queen. Salute to you too, King. We Birdman, we good this Friday. And we not gonna go that long, y'all. I know we had some marathon shows, but we're gonna cut it short. He's Birdman's like shout outs to Demetrius Bright, salute family. Yeah, so when you get old, just sometimes you just gotta let it go. We should all hope to reach 90 years old. So that's how I feel about Bob. But you know who he is, you know what he's about. But unless y'all gonna hold these guys' hands and get them through the moment and get them through their beginning part of their career, then it's nothing we can say. And to the people who don't fall for Bob and don't sign with him, they're fortunate because they have somebody that helped them along the way, like Bill Haney has done with his son. Bill knew when to hold him, fold him, walk away. I ain't gonna say run because they ain't running up in there, but you know what I'm saying? Bill lets Devin take over. He ain't that overbearing father. He import his wisdom and knowledge to Devin, and Devin has moved great in these boxing streets. He's young. He's a promoter. He's a millionaire. Why? Because he had a good parent that looked out for him and released him to let him do what he gonna do. Everybody don't get that. That's why you have the Bob Arams of the world, the Don Kings of the world, the Eddie Hearns of the world, and the Oscar De La Hoyas of the world, and the Mayweathers of the world to scoop these people up, and they have no idea. So that's what's going on. But Bob is going to be Bob. He just recently had a birthday, so happy birthday, Bob. I know I said it before. But in the end of the day, y'all watch these fights and all that stuff. Karma is here. How you doing, Queen? How was your week?
It was good. I'm glad it's over with, though.
You was putting in a lot of work.
Yep. One of the weeks you put in a lot of work and still don't feel like you accomplished much.
Damn. How many hours you working per day? Like nowadays?
It's 8-hour days. So the joy about being a federal civilian, you cannot work past your 8 hours or 40 hours without approval from higher, and they are very big because they're not going to pay you overtime. So my 8-hour days and I clock out, I'm done. See you. It'll wait till tomorrow.
You said you don't even have to ask nobody. You just out.
Nope, I'm out. And if
I did not know that.
If I work over, then I get comp time. That's just I take the time off later in the week or whenever I want to take it.
Shout outs to Diamond. She's watching. Hey, Nisi Poo. I didn't know that they can't make you work over 8 hours. What if something's drastic that need to be done? Are those salary workers? How do they work that out?
They'll have to give you credit hours earned, which means you'll take that time off at a later date before you use up your leave.
Wow. Diamond is texting me. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Diamond. I'm on the show. You can come in the chat if you want to. I just never did. I never did, do the transition from military and then get a job. You know what happened with me. So, Al Heyman was blocking all that shit.
I got mine, doing mine for it, so I get my other stuff situated. I'm out. I'm just going to have my retirement and other stuff, and then my little side businesses, so.
Yeah, I mean, this my little side thing to do, because you got to keep busy, y'all. Like, even if you ain't got a job, you got to be productive. You got to keep the mind flowing and everything, because it's a muscle.
Empire.
You going to build the empire?
I'm going to build an empire, yep.
Do tell, what kind of empire are you building, girl?
So right now I'm working on commercial real estate license and sales insurance sales license, and also my federal firearms license.
Damn, what you going to do with the firearm thing?
Sell, repair, and build weapons.
You know how to do that? Well, you were a trained killer, but damn, Carmen, you know how to do that? Like all weapons?
Yeah, I built myself two ARs. They're technically not considered ARs though, because I did the pistol stock on them. So there's loopholes in the law you can get around for the whole thing. And then I got the bulk carrier group so I can fire the long rifle bullets out of it, because those are a lot cheaper right now. So yeah.
Where you gonna have all this shit at? At the Crizola, or you gonna get you a building, a little place?
Nope. So I'm gonna do some of the work. Well, my house, you already saw it. It's a 5-bedroom, 5-bath home. So either out of one of the rooms or out of the garage, and then I can use part of my house as a tax write-off.
This girl right here is thorough. Just letting y'all know.
So, and then hopefully
she's stubborn as a motherfucker, but she thorough too. Now you know you are. So am I.
So hopefully by the end of next year, the hookah lounge and bar that myself and a couple people are investing in will be open.
Is that my man? Is he out?
That is, yes.
He calling with your ass. I'm gonna call him killer.
Excited to see you.
Hey, man. Percy P, what's up? Look at him. Them damn hands is strong. I'm telling you. He'll claw your clothes off. Percy P, he telling you right now to play with him.
Yeah.
Percy P.
5.
You got the pretty blue eyes.
5. No, I'm not throwing it. It's too much Christmas stuff. He wants me to throw the toys, but I got all the Christmas stuff up. Not running.
Girl, how much money you just, speaking of which, how much money your ass has spent on Christmas with your grown children?
So
Andrew Charles in the building, salute King.
So what I do is I shop early in the year because the prices actually go up after July on a lot of items. You'll start noticing it'll go up a couple dollars or a couple cents. And then when they do Black Friday sales, a lot of times it's the regular price that it was even before. So I'll get it when it's on clearance. And then, I rack up my little coupons and everything else. So the stuff I got, which I probably spent about $600 or $700, but that was for a total of 11 people. 11 or 12 people. So
I will say this: you are very good at stretching $1, $1, $0.25, $0.10, $0.05. The girl make it holler like but Carmen, no, this is an ongoing joke with me and her, and that she gets to use coupons unlike black folks do. And she be like, no, T. She be like, no, T. I'm telling you. And it took Chris to tell you to my neighbor. She was like, yes, Lord, I don't know how she able to do that. Carmen, you know how like if you got coupons, you're going to the store, they can have something on sale. Carmen will use a coupon, get the store sale, whatever. What is it?
And the military discount if they got it.
And they will cut you off. You can only get 2. Not her. They tell my black ass straight up, you getting 2. Sometimes they be like 1. Man, Carmen go in there and get a $200 item for fucking $30. That'll never happen to me.
Sometimes too, I'll sit up there and just smile, and be like, "Oh, I thought the whole thing. I played a little game. Be like, okay, I'll hook you up. I'll give you a little. I got a coupon for you. Ain't no coupon, but they knocking down prices. I ain't even mad."
And the people might give her their store credit all the time. But Carmen, I'm trying to wait on the other girls. DJ is in the building. Was Poppy King? Salute Queen T and Karma.
Hey, DJ.
So I'm trying to wait for the other girls, Carmen, and you can. And I didn't give you a heads up. I told the other girl I was getting around to you, but I was like, she on their way home. She can talk off the cuff. The question that I'm asking today, and it probably be touchy, but I know you don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. We alpha bitches up in here. But I was gonna say, do you think segregation is the way to go for black people at this point in our time? Also, I want to get your feedback on why do you think people hate our vice president, Kamala Harris? It's tough, and that's a little sensitive subject, handle with care. I couldn't look at you.
Let me get situated.
You That's a sensitive subject. That I know.
I know, and when I
Now,
speak,
hold
it's
on,
only going to be from my experience,
exactly.
from my personal view, not talking generality that covers everyone or everything, but from my view, from a family full of immigrants, grew up around other immigrants, and also lived in other countries.
Now, while we waiting, I will say I'm gonna respect everybody's opinion, and we all got our opinion. But a lot of people ask questions. Why do y'all do what y'all do? Why do y'all one question I could get is, why do y'all black women blindly vote Democrat? Or and this ain't about Democrat or Republican. This ain't that show. One day we will talk about it. But if y'all bring it up, I'm gonna listen or whatever, and we gonna keep it pushing. I'm not gonna try to linger on something. I don't want us to do analogy after analogy after analogy. I want us to talk about it and move on. Don't get in your feelings and don't get hurt, because we all grown-ups and we all have our own opinions. I'm trying to wait for the ladies to get in, but I don't know. After I sent that text saying that's what I was gonna ask, I don't know if they even want to come in. DJ said, at Birdman, my Bama bro, salute family. Where you been, bro? That's what I said, Birdman. You too, Birdman. Where you been? Haven't seen you since the Iron Bowl. Yeah, the Iron Bowl. Like, I know what that is. Is that football? Iron Bowl? Okay. So, I don't know. They supposed to be here, so you can go ahead, Karma, and you heard the 2 questions.
Yeah.
And,
so
I know you can handle it with care.
Yep. So the other thing too is my family is pretty much what the American dream, the melting pot is. We got some of everything throughout my whole family. Everyone's done married, had kids, with everything under the sun. Down. So I don't think it's a good idea for anyone to segregate. I understand, and I don't have a problem with Black-owned businesses supporting Black-owned businesses, investing money in each person's communities. They'll have a lot of Asian people, a lot of Indian people that are very big on doing that and how they build wealth and generational wealth. So it's done. But the segregation portion, I don't agree with. It's counterproductive. You can learn a lot from everyone. And the thing is, what everyone fought so hard to integrate on, people are now willfully segregating themselves. And I understand people talk on their personal experiences and everything else. But in my personal experience, the ones who have been the most militant or extreme on segregating or just keeping to their own have very limited life experience outside of the city or the state they live in, more or less a different country. The other thing, just from my personal, and I know it's going to touch some people, it's going to be a little, some of the men that have been the most militant preaching the stuff, the pro-black, anti-whatever else, publicly, they'll slide in my DMs like it ain't nothing.
You better preach.
So the other thing that I found too are the ones that preach that stuff. Yeah, they'll do stuff behind the scene. Their biggest problem, my personal experience, because I've experienced it more so with Black men than Black women. The issue, or when they preach, tends to be more of when women go outside and date a different race. Then it's problematic. I don't care. Date who you want, whatever. We only one race, human race, different ethnicities, whatever else. I grew up with the mindset of you get to know everyone. You learn from everyone has a lot of similarities that you're never going to know if you don't interact and build your community together. There's things you can learn, but you also have a lot in common that you don't even realize. Mm-hmm. That tends to get lost when you're segregating and this, that. There's a lot of a lot of things. I have to be careful how I say, so it's not taken the wrong way.
Girl, y'all know what I do on Friday. So if y'all see me do this, y'all know what I'm doing because I want to be appropriate. I want to be appropriate. But hold on. Let me get some chats in. DJ say, y'all don't want to hear my opinion on Vice President Harris. Yes, we do, King, because you're going to have to hear ours. It's only fair. We good. We still love you. Still the king. And Birdman said she showed us who she was. And with black people struggling hard, working, don't take kindly to broken promises to get ahead in her career on the backs of her so-called people. Okay, I hear you. And I said, yes, we do, DJ. Look at hold on, Birdman up in the camp. Birdman said, I've been on the show at DJ and I've been letting y'all cook on the last couple of days, laughing my ass off. You know them guys never sleep, so had to get some sleep. Andrew Charles says segregation should be a choice, not forced. People who are willing to live together should be able to, and if people want to build with their own, they should be able to as well. I hear you, King. But hold on, go ahead, Karma. Finish cooking. Hold on, Karma got the floor, Birdman. We're gonna let you get in too.
All right.
So for that, yes, I have no issue with building on everything else, but the issue that you run into, from my experience, I'm gonna keep saying that so nobody thinks I'm just talking generalities. When you segregate to your own, you close yourself and you become closed-minded to other stuff that's out there. There's no issue with building your own communities, like building up your communities. This country has had a history of when certain communities were built up, of tearing it down. No issue with that. With tearing down, yes, but the building of your own community, no issue with that. That is a good thing to help with generational wealth, everything else. But the segregation portion is the part that I have issue with. You take steps back because you don't learn from anyone. You don't learn like I said, my personal experience, that tends to be a mindset more of Americans born and raised in the States that have not lived or experienced life anywhere else. And most of the time, not even outside of their city or state. So they have this mindset, and it's not even a full mindset. So I think it's detrimental to everyone as a whole to do that.
Okay. Let me get this chat. Macadocious Mac of the South is in the building. Salute, King. He says, salute the lovely and beautiful Madame Queen Miss T and Queen Carmen. Salute to you too, King. And he says, salute to my brother too.
Salute, Macadocious.
So go ahead, Carmen.
I'm gonna let Birdman speak because I'll probably have more comments as.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, here we go. Everybody put their seatbelts on. Go ahead, Birdman.
So which one are we talking about? Kamala Harris or are we talking
No. I feel he's going to jump there. We're going to stick with the segregation first, one at a time. Right.
I feel like there's nothing wrong with being with your own segregation because at the end of the day, everybody gets the same things, supposedly. But I feel like for black people, how can I say this? Like for black people, we follow by the rules. We go along to get along. But at the end of the day, they always leave us out no matter what. And same as in the military. I got guys, friends that are in the military. And it's still the same thing. Some stuff's seen, some stuff is unseen, but they don't speak about it until they get out of the military. And I feel like it's okay to be with your own group because you have to learn and keep your culture going. When we started expanding out to other people, all our culture, well, the majority of our culture was stolen from us, and it's been profited on. You know, they make money off of us. But some people are stuck in their old roots. I mean, I love everybody, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's more biblical than just being, you know, a certain group of people. Because if you take a look at society now, there's only one main group in the world that's been talked about, criticized, mistreated. No matter where you go in the world, that's only one group of people, and that's for a reason. But people don't put that into their thought process when they're thinking about it.
Are we losing you, or are you just taking a pause?
It's probably me because I'm on my
Okay.
phone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you. Sometimes it's a pause.
It's probably because I don't have my earbuds, and I'll get them in a minute.
Okay. Okay. Let me read what DJ said. He said Hillary called young black men super predators. I know that was a sore thumb for a lot of people. VP Harris is actually she treated like they were. She treated them like they were. Everything she did wasn't pro building a community. It was pro police occupation, which helped her career. Andrew Charles said, I hear what you're saying, Carmen. And Demetrius said, salute Birdman, salute Macadocious Mac of the South. Blessings, fam. Continue, Birdman.
Oh, I was just saying that
Okay.
people that they talk about segregation and the reason they don't like segregation, but there's a reason for segregation. I felt like now, because I've been doing a lot of research on it, that's what I've been doing, a lot of research on religion and stuff like that. I feel like it's okay to be friends with a set of people, but at the same time, stick to your culture as far as how you were raised and how, to keep a history of your people. See, everybody has a history but us, even though I'm not trying to make this about black people, but there's problems that come when you come to like opening up to a lot of group of people, because a certain group of people might not like that. Oh, you got more history. Oh, you have a great king, or you have this and that. So they'll try to hide it, or it will cause confliction between people. Like the history books when I were in school and everything I was taught in school, I stayed suspended a lot in school because I was bucking the system. When I started reading a lot, I found out, that a lot of stuff that was done to us, like I know more about their history than I do my own history. And half of that is just false. Then when you get into higher grades, you get into the political stuff of it. It was a lot of stuff that was hid from us in the early 80s and 90s. A lot of stuff. We were blind to it. We thought we had it good, but it was a lot of stuff that's going on behind closed doors. And see, my way out of it when I was younger was trying to go to the military too. But, I didn't. I ended up not going. I ended up getting married. I mean, that was a good thing for me. But, military is a so-called way out for like the people where I'm from, like the younger black people, because jobs, like a guy, I'm going all around the world. Like a guy, when I was in high school, he already had a job waiting on him when he got out of high school. The same job I would probably have to go to college to get. And then when I get to that same workplace he was at, it took years and years to get a rank or a rise. You know what I'm saying? So it made everything harder. It's not equal down the board. I mean, it may look it like it is, but it's not. Like there's a guy that I'm working for now. My boss I work for, they were making $10,000 a month. $8,000 a month. I just now in 5 years got to $7,000 a month working for this guy. It took 5 years to do, and they made it on. And I had to start off, get this, and I had to start off at $175 a week. Now I'm at $7,000 a month.
Congratulations.
But I was wondering why it wasn't it. Me and him, we butted heads plenty of times. I was like, why is that dude? Why did he start in making $8,000? Why did this person start making $8,000? I had to start off at $175 a month. We have to take a lot of crap to rise farther than other people, regardless if we're segregated or not, because we always have to go through the same type of individual. Correct. So when they say the struggle is real, the struggle is real, no matter where you are, no matter what workforce you're at. You have good people in the workforce. It's just that it's always been like that.
Mm-hmm. True that. So I guess I no, I want to interrupt her, man. Where that's was that it?
Oh, you good? You good?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because and I'm the tone. I'm trying to set the tone because this is a touchy subject for a lot of people. So I don't want nobody getting butthurt, but people can speak their piece. You know what I'm saying? For me, I just happen to believe when you talk about humans, we are all humans. Period. And I do believe, because they had a show that came out, you will never find it again, because they realized it was like a oops. They posted it on PBS years ago, where they're able, because we always hear about the paternity test of men to see if you are the father, but you can also do paternity tests on women, and this is done through your mitochondria. And they tested for decades people from all over the world, and their conclusion was that we all came from the same 5 black women in Africa, and due to migration and you evolving to the location you wound up at, this is how our looks and everything changed. You know what I'm saying? You look like you look in Africa for a reason, because of the environment you're in. You look how you look in the Caucasus Mountain for a reason, because you needed that look or those features to survive that climate or whatever. So we all came from the same 5 people, right? Now I'm gonna narrow it. We're talking about American history. When I'm talking about segregation, American taught the world how to be racist on the level that racism exists today. Outside of America, now we have taught them these things, so they have caught up and they actually executing some of this shit. But for real, outside of America, people don't look at race like we do. If you ask somebody who's from Puerto Rican or Puerto Rico, even though that's a part of America, they'll say I'm Puerto Rican, but mostly because they deal with America and they are part of America, they kind of have some of our same values and tradition. But if you ask somebody who's from any other Caribbean island, in the Caribbean, what is that feedback? And then they will say, I'm this. If you ask a Cuban, what are you? You black or white? You black, whatever. They'll be like, I'm Cuban. Other places in the Caribbean, they'll say, I'm whatever that place is. And you be like, no, I know you Cuban, but what are you? I'm Cuban. Period. Full stop. So when we dealing with segregation here from America, what I learned was that it was one of the tools used to further slavery, segregation, and the Bible. Now, if anybody take what I'm saying and say, oh, she hate the Bible, let me be clear. I'm a Christian and I don't have a problem with the Bible. I'm telling you, but just because I'm a Christian and I don't have a problem with the Bible, it don't mean that back then they didn't use it to their advantage. In fact, any religious book you pick up, those people can find something in that book to justify the evil that they do. They can find something. And they will find something. It's all about interpretation at that point, right? So segregation is definitely a tool, because in segregation, there's going to be one side who has power and one side who don't. And the people who won the colonization war, if you will, was Europeans that came to this country. They won. We all speak in English. We all adapted to their way of life more so than where we probably are indigenous to. So they won. No big, it happened. We can all get over that, right? But now going forward, if you segregate, one side will always have more. And it's a proven fact. This is not even a theory. You just have to look at American history. When you segregate, they have the resources, they have the power, they have the capital, they control the finances, they get to pick what economy we live under, whether it's capitalism or mercantilism or whatever. They get to pick it. Socialism, whatever, they get to pick it. So the ones who get to pick it have the control. So to me, when black folks are saying nowadays let's move towards segregation, I don't understand it. Because to me, that sounds like let's move to slavery. Let's move to oppression. Let's move to suppression. That's exactly what they're saying because they're not connecting the dot that that's pretty much how they had control. Now we could get into the Bible. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carmen.
I was going to say, I think part of the stuff or the push is because, well, I always hated American European history in school because, hell, even in elementary school and middle school, I could tell it was bullshit. There was a lot you just didn't learn. It was whitewashed. It definitely was whitewashed. Black History Month, you learn a little bit about Martin Luther King and a little bit of Malcolm X. They never taught you that once Malcolm X went to Mecca and saw people of all ethnicities going to Mecca, getting along, everything else, that his views on segregation changed when he came back to the States. And that's part of the reason he got shot. So that's the whole thing. I think part of the stuff or the push, in my opinion, for segregation for a lot of Americans here in the US is trying to find the identity that was stripped from them, their history, their culture, where they came from, trying to reconnect and find that because it was stripped from them. Because there is a difference in the mindset of Americans born and raised here and like the Africans I grew up with from Africa that immigrated over. Completely different mindset, completely different views. So I think part of it is not a push for racism, but a push to reestablish, because America's, done a number every time Black community built up and had a foot of their own and, built their wealth. They got bombed, they got destroyed. Hell, Lake Lanier here in Georgia was a Black community. They flooded out. So it's trying to reconnect their history. Yeah. It's trying to reconnect their history and establish everything. But and that's in finding that, and like I said, investing in your communities and building that wealth, all for that. You have other cultures that do it, but American culture has stripped so much. I mean, from the judicial system was established, to continue slavery with the form of slavery. It was even, slaves that were, once slavery ended, then it was, well, now you can have slave labor if they're incarcerated. But then for a while in America, they would incarcerate Black women, get them pregnant. Now the children were adopted or taken in by prison guards and everything else and kept as slaves or workers or everything else. So it was a way. If we look at even the
sharecropping.
Yeah. The highway systems that were built, they were purposely built. The highway system was purposely built to cut into the wealthier Black neighborhoods to drive down their property values, redlining everything else, like things that people don't want to address. Yes, this country was built on racism. It was built off the backs of Black people and everything else. And at one point, when you had poor whites and Blacks working together, then they started pushing the slavery stuff and the Jim Crow stuff even more to make the poor white people feel like they were a step above the Black people. And in those,
that's where a union started.
Then the racist views, kept on, and I'll be one of the ones that pushed, even when the guys couldn't push it. Well, then you had the white women that didn't have any power or say, but lived off it from their husband, that furthered that racial divide. And there's still aftermath and effect in all of that. And that's not going to change until we learn about it. Everyone learns about it and faces, this is what happened, so history doesn't repeat itself.
Not snippets, not sound bites, not, like she said, lack of knowledge. You're going down the road and you're not fully understanding what all that means. Because my biggest question was how does segregation work? Now, as a Black woman, I need a Black man who believes that to tell me what is my role? Because I have no clue. Because from where I'm sitting, if let's say that I bite into it and I'm like, we do need to segregate and we get our own community, we get our own whatever, I'm going to think everything I do is with Black people. Like, I'm going to talk with black people. I'm going to eat lunch with black people. I'm going to break bread with black people. I'm going to do business with black people. I'm going to support other businesses of black people. I'm going to stay within my community. But do you really think that's going to work? No.
Well, you got to look
No,
at
it
it like
won't.
you got to look at it like this. They say that segregation was the worst thing that ever happened to black people because it stripped us of everything that we knew, and we were taught everything that they knew. Basically, like I feel like if we weren't segregated, that we would learn more about our culture, not to keep ourselves separated for certain people, but to learn about us because we're the only people in the world without a history. Which we do have a history, and then I mean, how many people pick up the Bible?
But Birdman, that's not segregation. That's isolation. We did
It's
a
not.
program. Hold on, we did a program a couple of weeks ago about misdirected anger, and sometimes I think it's words that we use that's not accurately depicting what we're trying to say. When you divide and conquer, or you isolate somebody, and you're keeping that information from them, then you're just basically isolating them. Segregation is like putting you in one group and keeping you over there. That to me really don't have nothing to do with taking your information or your history or your tradition. It's keeping you
It's
where
not
they want to keep you.
it's not letting
You know?
anyone else in or anything else because you just I'm gonna stick to nothing but my own anything else. There's a lot you fail to learn or realize when you do that. Like I said, I'm all for building up communities, everything else. I raised black daughters. I got mixed kid, and I've always taught my daughters their history, both sides, and I've always told my children, look, yes, you are mixed. You're multi ethnicity. They have everything from Middle Eastern, white, black, everything.
I get that,
The
but
world is going to judge you as black women.
but I feel like see, I grew up in a white foster on a white foster home and on a farm, right? But I didn't learn. Listen, I didn't even know anything about Malcolm X until I was in like the 5th grade, until that movie came out, and then I went out and bought the Malcolm X hat and stuff. And my foster parents threw that thing away. It's like he was a troublemaker. So I feel like the only way to learn about your people and about your culture is by your people. Nothing against other people. I mean, because I didn't learn. The only thing I learned is how to work hard and all that other stuff. But like the fundamentals of life, I didn't really. I had to pick that up on my own. They couldn't teach me that because I mean we were different.
Hold tight for a second. Rao 1980. Welcome to the building. Salute, Miss T. Salute to you too, King. Well, go ahead, Birdman. Sorry.
And see, we were different. I had to grow up, man. I was like what they call green now, like Malcolm X. It's like, why was he bad? Then I watched the movie. Then I started doing a lot of reading on it, and it was like people were afraid of what they didn't know, and just because a black man had a lot of knowledge and wanted to help his people, they were threatened by that. Why would you be threatened by that?
Because a lot of the policies and stuff that they established, or that the U.S. was founded on, were to benefit white people.
Yeah, we the people, by the people.
Yes, and the biggest threat, and J. Hoover even said it, and a couple of the biggest threat that they saw was the unification of black people. That was the biggest threat they saw to them for the power that they held. They didn't want that power taken away. The finances, everything else.
So when I said
is in school where people think, hey, he was a bad person, is because a lot of them never learned the history of, okay, what exactly did he do? How did he change? What happened when he went to Mecca? All the other stuff. In school, they were just taught this little snippet of him, and that's it.
Soundbites.
And they ran with it. I mean, there's other things too. Like I remember hearing about Helen Keller, and she's all this. There's a book, the lies my teacher never told. She was
her house. Her house is down the road from where I live at.
She was a damn communist. There was a lot of evil that was done, but they whitewashed it. Just hey, here's we talk about women's suffrage.
And
they didn't want to do it for everyone. It was just for white women.
And like Miss T said, like there's certain words that they play on, like wordplay. Like I probably don't mean segregation. I mean more unity. That's what we need, more unity. And see, if you think about it, the devil's round table plays on wordplay all the time. Once you get over a word, they'll come up with another word to make it just as bad, and it's a fear tactic.
Well,
Like
and let me jump in. And it's their language. Everybody else is playing catch up, right? So when you playing catch up, even now you playing catch up because now this gonna sound a little racist, but I'm saying adult that I knew when I was in a child when I was a child used to be like, you know, they always thinking. So you better be on your P's and Q's. Now, some people might take offense to that. I didn't take offense to that. I took it as be on your P's and Q's. And when she meant by they, she talking about white people. Because it seemed like just when everything get good, some group of white people find another way to put the barrier between the two. And it just seems like that, whether it's true or not. But in the end, there's a purpose to isolate you. Think about it, y'all. For the guys in the building, when y'all trying to get a girl and you got two girls, don't you want to isolate the two? You don't want them talking because if they talk, they gonna know the deal, right? Yeah. Divide and conquer. So that's what they did. Segregate means we don't want them over here with us. Because all the white people back then during slavery time, they knew what time it was. They knew that they was doing wrong and that they was committing some forms of evilness. They knew that. But that don't mean that one of them gonna become the wiser because black people integrate with them. They just was like, we're better. Y'all are not. Stay over there. That's segregation. So when I hear black people saying we got to segregate, what does that look like? Does that mean I can only date and marry a black man? Because guess what? Nowadays, black men don't even date black women like talking about it. I'm not, for those who do, cool. For those who don't, cool. But they don't. So what does that mean? Do I follow all the rules only? And the black men get to be, whatever? Because you want to know what? The way racism started off, the way that we know and know it now, it started from that premise. And white people saw what the Spanish was doing in Central America, and they said, we're going to do one better. We're going to put the white woman on the pedestal and make her untouchable. But we, as white men, we can fuck any and everybody. And we're going to make babies and all that. But she going to be the creme de la creme. I mean, that's part of those starting points that made racism the way we know it today be what it is. So segregation is not the answer. Once we integrate it, all those strongholds that they had with the Black Crow, like the Black codes, Jim Crow, even though it still kind of exists, they became weaker and weaker as generations go on. And then when you put people in charge, like, if let's say you're a slave master, who raising your kids? The mammy, right? The mammy being sweet to the kid, doing right by the kid. Now that kid might grow up like his father, but he ain't going to be as intense as his father. Because he going to remember, mammy is who I used to run to. And then generation after that, generation after that, generation after that. Y'all saw the movie Help in Mississippi. Some of them kids didn't grow up and continue like their parents were. Because that mammy was right there showing them love all along. This is how you break racism, by integrating, not segregating.
But you got to think too, when you integrate, that big, most important part of when you integrate is the beliefs and the religions, that you can mix them up and you can water them down too. So we got to be careful with that, because some people say your religion's wrong. Oh, your religion's wrong. I was always raised to believe that don't ever knock a man's religion, no matter what it is. Devil worship or whatever. Do it on your own time.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, that's the same thing that gets cult, that raises extremism. Now we talk Christianity, and yes, I'm a Christian. I believe in God, but look, we can get down to facts.
See,
Christianity is a formation of stolen religions from Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
it is. As they overpowered certain things, they took cultural pieces and then put it in, integrated part of their religious beliefs into Christianity to get the people to comply and fall in line with them. You appease the people, you don't change the religion totally. Throughout history, though, I mean, the Bible wasn't even written until decades after Jesus died. It was first verbal stories passed down. Then, the Bible rewritten, things taken out, things added in. King James Version, that's, we had the discussion last time when homosexuality being a sin was added into that portion. But, and then, like, even the depictions of Jesus changed. The original depictions of Jesus, with the Catholic Church and stuff, still have in their little say, the original depictions of Jesus was a black man.
Yeah.
But people don't want to acknowledge that because, hey, if I'm enslaving a bunch of people, how can I pray to a black Jesus? I got to make him white.
My question for you is, why try so hard to keep a certain group of people? I mean, I know the answer to, but why would they try so hard to keep a certain group down or people down for so many years and decades and centuries? Why, until this day, why try so hard to do that?
It's a matter of power, because you have people, white men, and now that women are getting a lot of white women that are afraid of losing their power or this status that they've held themselves to, that they're above. And if everyone unifies or whatever else or acknowledges stuff, they lose that power and that hold.
And human nature,
financial control they have diminishes as well.
Yeah.
And that's
human nature.
Power.
Human nature, we destroy what we don't understand. We destroy what we don't understand. And like she said, the fear of losing. For some reason, a group of people feel like they have to be superior. It's like the winner and the loser complex. I have to be winning and you have to be losing. I mean, but we as humans destroy what we don't understand. So if you don't understand why they wear what they wear, like I can tell you right now, I don't understand, considering that the Middle East is hot as hell. And why would anybody wear burqas? Now that sounds crass, but I don't understand it. It's hot as a mug, right? But I don't need to understand it. That's what they do. All I have to do is respect it.
But it's
right?
Even in the US, like when they ask you, your ethnicity, check whatever box. You go to other countries and they're not checking that. It's their whatever for that. They grew up in whatever country, that's what they are. And even in the US one, you have white or Caucasian. That box ain't ever changed. Then you look at African American. It went from, was it Negro to color to African American? Well, hell, technically you can have white African Americans. If you have a white African that immigrates to the US, they're African American.
Or you can have an Indian that's African. I have a friend that she was born in Africa, so she's Indian.
Yeah, but it's another one of those things to try and I never answer those questions when it's other or just leave it blank.
I had to do it on my gun.
On that note, checking those boxes has a lot to do with also statistical data gathered, because this country had to make provisions for minorities, and you can't do it blindly. So a lot of it started like that. Like anything can start innocently and turn bad, or something start bad and turn innocently. That can happen. Let me get these chats right. Andrew Charles said, I grew up in Peru. There's the Americans, they're Americans stuck together no matter what race you were. It wasn't until I moved to the U.S. as a teenager that I was introduced to racism. Indeed. And he also said, not to say Peru didn't have its own systems of segregation and oppression. It was just different than how it's done here in America. But AI didn't recognize it as a kid. And Rao 1980 says, salute. I think I read that one. He said, I know the voice anywhere. And he put the barbershop logo. And real talk, Birdman, appreciate you. So yeah, sometimes we had to make provisions for minorities because it just couldn't keep going the way it was going. And we was making provisions. But I think when they took civics out of high schools, they did a disservice to Americans as a whole. A lot of people jump on a bandwagon, like Carmen said, or read little snippets and sound bites, and they run wild with it. But I don't think they know exactly the full story or the full scope of the story. Also, when I was talking about misdirected anger, that happens a lot nowadays, and I'm not saying you did this, Birdman, but like when you were saying segregation, and I was making the distinction between segregation and isolation. Those are two different things. But people calling for segregation, I'd be like, do they know what they asking for? You're making it easy. You're complaining about police brutality. You're complaining about the crime bill. Yeah, I said it. You're complaining about a whole lot of other stuff, but you're for something that's going to make that issue profound, and you ain't gonna be able to do nothing about it. And you will actually make moves to ensure that something like that go on. And like I said, for somebody in the chat, it takes y'all guys to tell us what that look like. Because if I'm going to believe you and follow you, and I'm not saying any man in here believes that, or maybe they do, but if I'm going to follow you, then I'm thinking that, okay, I'm segregated from white people. I'm segregated from Indian and Asians. What about the people who was of those races that's in my family? I wouldn't be here without the white man that was on my mama's side of the family. I wouldn't even be in existence. What about those people? What about the mixed kids in my family that I know and love? What do I do with them? Number two. And then number three, if I'm following the guidelines, are the men going to follow the guidelines? So if they're not going to follow the guidelines, then why should I follow that? That's the question I want to know. That's why I'm so against segregation, mainly because it's not going to do our community any good in the long run. It's going to help exacerbate the problems we already complaining about.
Hey, Miss T, I got a question for you that could probably help you.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the I think this is the King James version with the apocryphy in there? You ever hear of that? The apocryphy?
You have to elaborate. I have never heard of that word, but I might have heard the story. The
apocryphy has like the stuff that they didn't put in the regular Bible about the last days. When they were talking about, you see how you said how about what if you have mixed kids and stuff like that. In the last days in the apocryphy, it talks about what they're going to do to those kids.
Is that in Revelations?
Yeah.
I purposely never read that. That's why I was like, what you talking about?
Well,
I can't.
that version of the Bible doesn't talk about it, but the apocryphy does talk about it. Like in the last days, how back in the day in slavery, how they didn't have a thought in the world for how they treated the African kids, how they fished with them and everything like that. But in this Bible, it talks about how, like, in the last days, is God against them, and how, there's no stone going to be unturned, no place to hide, because either you take a part of being a Christian. When I say a Christian, are you a believer in Christ, or you're not? It's going to be us against them. Like, them are the ones who chose the other way. And so if you have family members on the other side, what you're supposed to do to them, you're supposed to smash their heads. I mean, it's in here. I'm just quoting it, not word for word, but I'm just,
right. Oh, I believe you, because my brother tried to tell me something a long time ago, and I know he's not a racist person, but when we were very, very young, a lot of black men get caught up, I guess, when they're trying to find relevance or find their way in life. And you'll see a lot of young black men, I don't know if it's doing it as much now, but back then they could grow up in Christian homes and then say, oh, I'm a Muslim. And I'm not blaming the Muslim religion, but as I said before, you can pick a religion and find a way to justify whatever you're thinking, whether it's good or bad.
So you got to be careful with that, because that's dangerous.
That's dangerous to say.
Yeah, and no, you got to be careful with how you do that if you call to be a follower of Christ, because you can't say one thing, then go do another, or that's like turning your back on God. I mean, and like the way I was raised, but
they don't know it. But they don't know it. They don't know it, and what they do is, like my brother told the story. He said, "I was shocked because I'm so used to, in my day, I don't know much about like my mama day. It probably didn't happen, but in my day, you know, the floodgates was open. Everybody can mingle because, you know, the loving story of 1969 with the black and white couple married. They had to go before courts and all that to get people off their back and stuff. So kind of like after that time, like the 70s going forward. So you had a lot of black guys mixing outside their race. I think that was the first to fall, but not exactly. It's not an absolute. But anyway, my brother said, I said, I'm surprised. I said, you don't like white women? You don't like Latino women? You don't like, you know, I was just asking him, do he like something other than black women? And he said, no, give me my sisters, right? And I said, oh, he said, what I look like, this is what his exact words. He's like, what I look like dating somebody, of course, you're going to say white. That covers everybody, right? He said, dating a white person, and we have kids, and when the revolution come, and then the dude leaned in to me and said, and the revolution coming, then I gotta kill my wife and my kids. So in other words, I'm not even gonna open that door. And I thought that was the silliest thing I've ever heard.
Hey, you know what, Miss T?
What?
You like I when I was like last year when I was studying on that and I was reading the apocryphy and I was listening to everybody. I was listening to some Black Hebrew Israelites. I mean, they scared the shit out of me because it talks about that too. Because it talks about, you know, if I mix, which I have mixed kids. Like the judgment, you know what the judgment on me is going to be? Right. I'll get the same thing that they get. So you just got to be careful because some people say they don't see how a loving God can hurt, you know, destroy. No, I think it's all about your decisions that you make on this earth and your decisions in life, not to be a good person, but are you following it? Everybody's going to fall down by the wayside, but it's how you get back up. Are you going to be a stumbling block to somebody? So I try to watch that every day. I ain't perfect, but I try to watch that every day. That's like when judging like Trump, all these people, I judge them, but I judge them in a way of like, you know what? God put them there for a reason. Maybe that's going to wake somebody up.
And see, I view life as we are all humans. You know, we are all humans, and therefore we're in the same race. We're just different. We just look different. You know, that's just what it is. We look different, and our looks have a lot to do with the locations that we settled in. As I said before, we all came from the 5 same black women. And if you were up in the Caucasus Mountain, then, you know, you had the hair that white people have and all that, because that was indicative to the location they were. If you were in Africa, same thing.
Let me help you real fast. All right, I got 2 things. All right, so you say that those people that are in Israel right now, they're light complected. They're in a hot climate place. You say that that's the right skin tone for them?
At today's time, we got things that can't. Now, do I believe that that's where they were supposed to land? Because you got to realize too, after World War II, that land was ciphered out for them, and that's where they landed. I mean, I was not born during that time, so it's done. It's already done. If if they there and that's their country, then it's the right place for them to be.
Those same people started a war in Russia for what reason? They were trying to go back home. And my last thing to you is, you know, do you have a favorite kid? You know, like everybody has a favorite kid. You don't mean to. Do you have a favorite kid?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No, because I have 1 kid, but I have 2 kids because I claim my daughter's brother as my son. I
treat my kids equally, but my youngest 2 are my babies. They're my favorite kids, but I treat them all equal. Ooh. That's how God is.
Ooh, Carmen, you want to answer that one?
She can't. Carmen, you can't because I have facts upon facts upon facts that I can back up on that. And then, like, here's one more thing for you. If you could answer this one, which I won't.
I will be honest.
Why did God say, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated? Me and my boss got into it on this right here. I just let him speak his piece, and I let him be right when she was wrong.
I'm thinking Jacob was sanctioned, something to that effect. I really don't know. I wasn't there. But I mean, human being. Let me answer. Human beings are fallible. We're weak. We are not perfect, and we're never meant to be perfect. And we can strive for perfection.
None of the
And
books
plus, hold on, Carmen.
written by God or written by Jesus. Written by man.
I was about to say that
Years
it was
later.
written by man in
fact.
man's
No, that's
favor.
Man wrote. Decades
Yeah, but you got to think though. God spoke to those people. You have to believe that God spoke to certain people. I know people can take the Bible.
Those people didn't write those books. Those were stories that were passed, a telephone game that was passed on for decades before it was even written. Then it was written in the language of the elitists and just told verbally to the commoners. Then it was changed again.
When King James got involved.
See, but that King James tried to change up a lot of stuff, and the Bible says, "Woe unto thou." I mean, woe unto thee that tried to change his words. I'm not saying it in the right context. I'm going by memory of it.
Oh, let me open up the phone lines too. I'm sorry for those who, I'm sure there's some people want to get in, and they probably where the phone lines.
But you got to think, in the last days, knowledge shall be increased. Why Google is trying to hide a lot of stuff now that people can't find. You got to be careful how you search on Google.
Yeah. If they see they got their analytics and they see what you tend to gravitate towards, and they will give you if you gravitate towards XYZ, they're gonna give you stories to support that. And so that's just how it is with that. When you like what Carmen just said about the Bible. Now I've opened up the phone lines, y'all. So let me hold on. It's open now.
The Bible is a history of its people. The majority of the people that won't pick it up.
But in the end, Birdman, we have to have freedom of religion. People can believe what they want to believe or not believe what they don't want to believe. We as people got to be mature enough to not let that get to us. Now, there's one area about beliefs that I ain't gonna be mature enough, and I don't care how anybody feel it. Don't come in here with the devil and demonic shit, because I ain't with it, and you get cut to the white meat on that. And I ain't saying you. I'm saying this to everybody who listen to Ms. T. You come that way, you cut off, because I ain't with that shit at all, and I don't want it to be a part of my life. I know that if you believe something strong enough, it will be. That's just how I believe. It can become true in your life or people around you. And I choose, this is how I keep my sanity and keep my positiveness, by not allowing that type of shit come in. But outside of that, you could be Muslim, you could be Israelite, you could be Baptist, you could be Protestant, you can be whatever you want. And I'm going to respect you. I judge you more on the content of your character than anything that you into. You know what I'm saying? That's how I choose to move through this world, because it brings me peace. I can't make you be nothing. You are your own person.
Now I might be a little whatever. But Jews, Muslims, and Christians all pray to the same God. It's just different paths.
True.
Nobody knows which path is the right way. Muslims believe in Jesus. They don't believe he was the Son of God. They believe in Jesus. They believe he was born of a virgin. They believe he was a prophet, though. They believe in the miracles.
They believe in the Bible also.
They believe, yes, more so than a lot of Christians do.
Yes, in order to be
Muhammad was the last prophet.
That's what they believe.
You get a lot of the Christians, they F Allah, this and that. You're an idiot. Allah literally means God in Arabic. That's what it means. We all pray to the exact same God. It's a different path.
Hold tight. D-Ray over phone. Salute King. Welcome to the building. Salute the boxing section, TBS. Salute to my dogs and queens in the chat. Salute. So go ahead, Karma.
I thought DJ
DJ was here. He said we didn't want to hear his opinion, but we do, King.
Yeah, get on here.
No,
you see, it's a civilized conversation.
I've grown up with a lot of like Bible thumpers and everything else. There's a lot that I don't believe. One, anybody that's Catholic whatever, I know I'm about to offend you, but the Catholic Church is more of a political party than it is religion.
Yeah, I ain't gonna
It's
get
just
on
the way
that.
it is. You know, the three trinities, whatever else, that's a spinoff of Egyptian religions. There's a whole book of Enoch. We can talk about the Bible, all the chapters that were purposely taken out or left out because they don't abide or they didn't fit in with what the people in power wanted it to say.
I got
don't know
the
if
book
you
of
read the
Enoch.
book of Enoch or not, but if not, I recommend you read that one too.
I have that one.
Andrew Charles said, "We all do it, but it's a sign of our human arrogance to presume that God shares our emotions and our petty responses to them." Indeed. I believe that. I believe that. And so in the end, we are all humans, as I said. We all in the same race, essentially. And we all got to get along. So, you know, the premise was the segregation work. And it's hard to talk about segregation without talking about the Bible and all that, because we have an example, American history. America is a superpower because of slavery, period. Any country out there that's considered a superpower is because they oppressed or suppressed one group of people. Free labor, pretty much. That's the better way to say it these days. You know, everything is about being PC and, you know, not stepping on people's feelings. But basically, free labor is what makes countries a superpower. And we have all of us love our superpower status, but we say things that's going to derail that. Will America be a superpower if we go back to segregation? It still will, but who's going to get oppressed more? Black people, minorities. So why do Black people call for it? That was my question. Why would that be a thing when we already have examples to show that it didn't work in our favor? That was my ultimate question about that. But we can move to Kamala Harris. And when we move to her, we can talk about segregation. If anybody want to chime in, I'm going to put the invite in the chat. And so you can chime in if you want to. And as y'all see, we've had a civilized conversation and nobody should be hurt or whatever.
No, because we're all family here. We're just learning from each other's opinions.
Yeah, and we got to respect each other's opinions and everything. So
Right.
My question is about Kamala Harris. Everybody knows I'm a Democrat, right? Everybody knows that, and I don't apologize for it or anything. It's just my view. And other people have their views, and I respect their views. But why I can't, for the life of me, understand why people do not like this woman. And I'll lead off. Y'all heard the question, so I will give an example first because it's conflicting. We know the Ahmaud Arbery case just ended. We know that those 3 hoodlums got found guilty, and we all happy about it. I'm assuming that everybody in this chat is happy about the fact that Ahmaud Arbery got justice. But now they're moving on, in case you didn't know, you probably did, to the district attorney who tried to sweep it under the rug, right? She gonna get her justice. She gonna get held accountable for the shit that she did.
But
and I'm assuming, hold on, Carmen. I'm assuming that everybody's gonna be happy about that. So first, I want to hear y'all thoughts on that, and then I'm gonna lead it into Kamala Harris. But go ahead, Carmen.
So with that prosecutor, they're leaving out the prosecutor when she recused herself and handed it off to another one. His son actually worked for her originally. There's things where he got involved, and he also stopped and wrote a letter and overstepped his bounds. That the press isn't going after him. The justice system isn't going after him. That is equally culpable in that thing and should be prosecuted as well. They're forgetting another prosecutor from the next, I think it starts with a W, from the next county over. His ass needs to be held accountable as well and put on trial.
A lot of them need to be held accountable because they try to let these men get away with cold-blooded murder. But she is going to pay the rap for that. And hopefully it will serve as a deterrence for future district attorneys who don't want to do their job, or anybody who want to call themselves getting involved and trying to obstruct justice. So how y'all feel about that right quick?
Well, my thing is on that, and I really don't have too much to say because, like, the only reason that stuff made the news is because the world was watching. But like in this area, similar stuff like that happens all the time with the DA, the lawyers, the judges. They're all buddy buddy after court. They all go out to eat together, and a lot of people don't go to prison, and a lot of people that shouldn't go to prison in this area, and well, in the southern South.
Yeah. Lynn Ray said, Miss T, thanks for most interesting topics, Queen. I appreciate it, King, and welcome to the building. Andrew Charles said, I like Tulsi Gabbard over Kamala Harris during the election, but she didn't get any shine from the media. Now, I'm not even bringing the media into it when it comes to Kamala Harris, but just to put the finite point, here's a woman who's on trial because she tried to obstruct justice. She was there to be a district attorney, not play favorites, not try to understand one side. She was supposed to speak for Ahmaud Arbery. That's what she was supposed to do. She did everything but. And then she tried to run again for her position and got voted out, of course. And now they about to put the fuck to her, as they should. Now let's move over to Kamala Harris. I have a reason why I think that people don't like her, and it irritates me, but a little bit. But I can't. Again, I don't control nobody, and people can have their own thoughts. But I can tell y'all where my thoughts, why I think the way I think. This right here is Kamala Harris' parents. That is not two black people. That's an Indian and an Asian. That is not two black people. I want y'all to see this. Her mother is from India. She was not born of American black people. This is Kamala Harris in the yellow jacket and her little sister and her mother. Again, they're not black people. But her mother brought them up to understand where they're living in America and how people will see them. She will be seen as a light-skinned, red bone, however y'all want to call it, high yellow, whatever, black woman in this country. That's what she's going to be seen as. So she might as well lean into it and embrace it. But she's not a black American. She's not. She don't come from that stock. But she know how she's being viewed, and she don't have a problem with it. But what her mother did teach her is to exist in this world, this crazy world called America, as a woman of color. She went to Howard University. You can't get no more blacker than that. I mean, I don't know what this woman have to do to satisfy people, because if she just embraced and said, I'm black, then her other side can be mad at her. If she says I'm Asian, she says I'm black, I'm Asian, everything. She claims everything, and not for her benefit, but because that's the world she was given. She has to exist in this world, but it don't matter what she claimed. Somebody gonna have a problem with it, and that's enough to hate the woman. I don't think it's because of that. Number two, she went to school to be a lawyer. She went to school to be a lawyer. That means, what is she gonna do? She's gonna practice law. Now, she could have either been a defense attorney, and surely everybody in America is not trying to dictate to this grown woman what she should do with her career. We got a lot of black district attorneys and attorney generals all across this country. But for some reason, a lot of black people are feeling like they can dictate to this woman what she should have been. Now, the narrative that I hear most, and I ain't saying this everybody, but they'll say, oh, she jailed 1,000 black men, and they leave it at that, as if they paint the picture. Because when they say that argument, the picture that I'm visualizing is she went on the street and she pointed out the black people she wanted to be arrested, and then they came before her court and she prosecuted them. And then she jumped on the jury some kind of way and found them guilty. And then she sat in the judge's seat and gave them the time, as if these black men tore their drawers with somebody before they got there She was presented these cases and she did her job. Y'all say it like, and I don't mean y'all individually, whoever feels this way. Y'all say it like she did it on purpose. Like she had a choice. What y'all basically saying is you wanted her to be like this district attorney in Georgia is on trial for right now. To it's a brother, so I'm not gonna do my job. So I got to show favoritism to the brother. If the brother broke the law, he broke the law. Whether he got framed, rolled over, bamboozled, whatever, that's not her issue. Her issue was to prosecute whoever they put before them. California is a big state. California is also like, I think, the 5th largest economy in the world. That means a lot of people. So 1,000 black men, she put in jail on purpose. Like she's like rolling her hands together. How many niggas I could put in jail? And I don't see that. What I really think, and this is going to be the barn burner right here. What I really think that people don't like her for is that she married a white man. That's what I think. What say y'all? I'm going to stop right there.
Ladies first. I'll let her go first.
He said ladies first. Go ahead, Carmen.
Carmen, go ahead. Well, I'll go. Hey, Carmen, I'll go ahead. I'll make it short. First of all, I have nothing against Kamala Harris. But I do not like her. I didn't vote for her. And those 1,000 men, I don't know how many people she prosecuted, but I do know like there was a couple of guys or one guy in particular that was proven to be innocent, and they had to force her to overturn or something like they had to force her to overturn that. And that was going to be one of the big questions when she was running for vice president. I think they were going to ask her why did she do that or something like that. And the second thing is, hold
on, Birdman, before you continue.
Okay.
When you say that though, you're making her seem like she's an anomaly. Name another district attorney or any district attorney that don't do things like her. Go ahead.
But all the district attorneys that do stuff like her, they automatically get that black eye, and it follows them.
No, they don't. I've never seen it. I've never seen that. There's a lot. You know how many prosecutors, you know how many innocent black men are in jail off of prosecution, whether it was a white person, black person, Latino person, Asian person that was the prosecutor? A lot. And and prosecutors don't ever, because it's their career, they don't ever want to look like they did something wrong. So I can't separate. I can't make it look like it was an ulterior motive. I look at it like she being a prosecutor.
Well, here goes the other.
I don't see the daylight between other people.
Some of those times, a lot of those times, it's not that one prosecutor's decision to overturn. That decision is made by their superiors.
And also too, when you're running in for an important office like that, your whole life is going to be opened up for the world to pick apart.
But they don't do that to nobody else. Like, it's a lot of half the famous politicians who have been prosecutors and stuff in their respective states have done this and had this problem. It's a reoccurring thing. And every prosecutor that runs into this problem is going to act that way. So what's the daylight between her? I can't prosecute her or nail her to the cross for something that's indicative of her job. That's how they act.
Well, but when you make a mistake, your job is to go back and correct it. As somebody that's putting a guy away for life in prison, though, and why it shouldn't be hard to undo. It was her doing.
So tell me somebody who was more worthy than her. I don't care who you pick out in the world to be your leader. They're going to have the same problem. They made a mistake that cost people millions or cost either damages or money or whatever. They made a mistake.
But the government's never guilty of stuff like that, though. I mean, they're guilty, but you can't prosecute them. It's hard to prosecute the government. And the second thing I had was, you said Kamala Harris is not black.
She's not technically black, but I will say this. Just like we now know about, but I've been knew about Mexicans. There's a whole population of Mexicans that are straight up black
Yeah,
because Mexicans don't like to admit, and not all of them. So I'm not putting the umbrella or the jacket on everybody, but for those who don't like to admit, you know who you are, don't like to admit that it takes a black Indian and a Spaniard to make a Mexican.
correct.
This
The
is how they
bloodline.
come. Right. So
But
it's not lost on me that it could be a whole population of Mexican, but they don't get the same rights in Mexico. They don't get the same privileges. They're tucked away. And you can go find that in damn near every country in the world. You can go to Japan and find a whole population of black people, hair just like yours. They Japanese though, but they look just like us. And guess what? They tucked away. They don't get the rights and privileges of the mass majority of the Japanese people. So again, what's the daylight between folks?
well, the thing about that is though, you said she's not black, right?
Technically, like
Well,
our
when
definition.
she got on, when she was starting to run,
Mhm.
she was more or less. I mean, I didn't like her for the fact that she couldn't be herself. She was more or less trying to be hip, trying to sway black, but just be yourself.
But how's she trying to be hip when she went to school in Howard? That's in DC. If you make it through a degree in Howard, come on now, that's Chocolate City. That's
She had
Chocolate City. She ain't
Oh,
faking nothing.
but if you watch it, she's not acting like that when she's in well, like when they're having office, right, or when they're having meet, she's not acting like that. So don't come at us like, oh, okay, you can talk hip to us and we're going to vote for you. Just be yourself.
But she is being herself. When I go to work, I put my work voice on. I don't act like TT.
I just think
See, it's not an act. We all do it. We are persecuting her for something we all do. And I would love to know what is the real reason. But maybe,
Okay, all right.
Birdman, that came off to you like that.
Right, but
it's a
check this
whole
out.
lot of
Check this out. So
Right.
what if Biden? We know his parents both were white,
Mhm.
right?
right.
And he was coming off to us like that. He would get judged the same way.
But they say that about Hillary, and she has a lot of experience with black people. You know, they compared what she was doing to Bernie Sanders as if Bernie did more for black people than Hillary did, and I just didn't see how that was true. And I also feel like, why even compare? If you did a solid for black people, you did a solid. What Bernie do during the civil rights time? He pretended like he was a white couple, him and another female, and they would go in and try to get apartments or buy a home or whatever to see if they would sell it to them, proving that person was racially profiling and discriminating against the black couple who tried previously. That's what he did. Kudos to him, because that is success. That meant something. But Hillary worked for Dr. King's lawyer, in fact, which was a black woman, and she went undercover in schools where they was getting money and falsely arresting a lot of black boys without putting charges to them. She went in as a typical white woman that she is, because that's what she looked like, right? Blonde hair, blue eyes, and cracked that shit wide open and made them let them little black boys go home, amongst other things. Kudos to her for that. I won't engage in saying, oh, I'm a better civil rights person than you are. But that's what was going on during the campaign, made people hate her even more. The super predator thing, hey, she didn't make that word up. That was a word she used nonetheless, but she didn't make that word up. That word was in the lexicon. And she just followed suit. And they took offense, like she meant it for every black person. But if you listen to the whole thing, that's interpretation. You can take it that way. I'm not gonna be mad at nobody who take it that way. I listened to the whole thing. I didn't hear that she was calling me a super predator. But y'all don't know. If y'all didn't grow up in the early 80s when the crack epidemic hit, then you don't know the severity of what was going on. And you do have to call people who sell drugs to their own people predators. What are you doing if you're not preying on them? What are you doing?
I got a question for you. So what has she done since she's been vice president for people? For people. Has she helped our people, or has she helped a certain group of people? Has she helped the American people? Because my vibe on her is still the same. I mean, I have no words like for her.
But y'all want incredible fast results, which I didn't expect it from Trump. They have not even made a year in office yet. To answer your question, I really don't know, because I told y'all I took a break from politics as of like about May or June, and I haven't been following it on purpose because I needed a break. Because sometimes you listen to that shit and it's disturbing, or it's like, it's depressing, and so you can't, like, I have to know when I have to take a break. Let me get some of these chats because they building up. Lynn Ray in the building was popping, King. He said, because people feel the vice president has an ulterior motive and her power move is too transparent. And they can feel that way. I'm not telling you can't. Let me make sure I got this one. Kamala reminds me of one of the district attorneys in my county. She's quoted saying her career goal is to sentence out million years. Okay. Lynn Ray said, oh God, I'm without my 200 cheaters, but her old man appears black. Lynn Ray said, facts, Miss T. Lynn Ray also said, can't dispute your analogy, Miss T. Lynn Ray also said, who gives a ass about who she prosecute? I don't. And Lynn Ray also said, excellent point, Miss T. And Lynn Ray had a lot to say. The government is impermeable to fault or prosecution. Please don't make this a new occurrence. And Lynn Ray say, totally disagree on your evaluation of vice president. Please reevaluate. I'm not sure you said facts to me, and then you say you disagree. Oh, Lynn Ray, excellent point, Miss T. So in the end of the day,
wait, one more question, Miss
okay.
T. You said you know how the government doesn't move so fast, but it moved really fast when they were protecting the Chinese immigrants, because they said they are protected, like a protected
it was
people.
Asian is more than just Chinese.
Well, yeah, Asian, they're protected because they were being discriminated against black people, right? And also the people that moved from Afghanistan, look how fast it was to get them over here, and look how fast it was to get them the money, when half the time people can't even get their damn their stimulus check. You know what I mean?
So let me say that
certain group of people.
No,
and she's vice president, so
let me say this. Let me say this, y'all. America is a globalization, part of the globalization. And when I say globalization, I mean trading and such. Okay, that is how we maintain our superpower. That is what we do. We have a lot of money and have for years given aid to so many countries. You could have took that very amount of money and put it in America at any time during the 20th century and would have changed a whole group of people or a whole race of people's lives for the better. But America will always participate in globalization, i.e. capitalism. People act like they hate it, but they don't. They like it. You cannot survive in a socialistic existence. They do it for a reason. It's called playing chess. Like Obama told everybody, and I know a lot of people don't like Obama, but he told everybody, hey, we need to invest in Africa, because the European countries that originally had the hold over Africa, they all was moving out. And guess who moved in and got their foot? The Chinese. Obama told y'all, but he a black man that y'all don't like. And I'm not yelling, I'm just passionate about this. He's a black man that don't nobody like, and they didn't want to listen. And we gonna pay for that. We gonna pay for it. Africa is the biggest resource in the world. And we gonna pay for that move.
But Africa's trying to kick most of those people out too. They don't want Africa to get ahead.
They ain't gonna be able to. The Chinese got them sold up. So you let another superpower come in and outdo you. America is not in that type of business, but they got to win elections to get certain shit done. If you have a president is just an executive, he does not have that much power. Now, I brought up the crime bill because I thought Michael Fuller was going to come in here, and I wanted him to get his chance to get at me, because I've talked, when I talked about the crime bill on Barbershop Conversation. Shout out to Fred and Kyle for their shows. I love their shows. And they played a clip of Joe Biden say, I wrote this crime bill. But see, again, this is the problem with sound bites and little snippets. There's thousands of crime bills. Which one? Number one. Everything I wanted to say, I couldn't say in that time frame. Which one? And I want to ask people, if you author something, how do you make it your product and not somebody else? Because you put your John Hancock on it, right? I wrote this. This is my book. This ain't Karma's book. This ain't T's book. This ain't Birdman's book. This is my book. That's how you author your shit, right? But if you notice, when congressmen and senators on the federal level say that they wrote a bill, they call it, I sponsored a bill. So when you say that word, I sponsored a bill, then you saying somebody else wrote it
And you support it.
and you supported it. But people hear, I sponsored or I wrote the bill, and they literally think somebody wrote the bill. So no, Joe Biden didn't write the bill. He sponsored a bill. But which bill? Now somebody need to explain to me, what's the difference between federal lockup and regular lockup? I would love to hear that answer. What's the difference between federal lockup and regular lockup, i.e. penitentiary, jail, prison, whatever? Is there a difference? Somebody.
A lot of the
take that.
penitentiaries are private owned, so the states will sentence somebody, but the penitentiaries, the prisons, state prisons, are actually private enterprises that are owned by private entities. The federal one isn't. The guards are federal guards. It's funded by the federal government. That's where the biggest difference is.
I always heard if you're doing Fed time that you're doing easy time. That's what I heard. Then if you're doing regular time, you're doing hard time.
So when you go to jail for whatever crime they say you committed, and they will successfully have prosecuted you, am I right when I say a person in federal jail has committed federal crimes? Am I right when I say that?
Mm-hmm.
And the person who's in penitentiary or prison or jail, because sometimes jail is like a holdover while you're waiting on trial. You could go either way, federal or whatever. Jail is like, to me, your local city jail while you're waiting on your trial. Can we all agree to that part? That jail is that? Okay, but penitentiary and prison, when you're on the farm in that particular state, can we say, am I right? And y'all correct me if I'm wrong. When people go to jail on charges that they were prosecuted, is that a federal crime they committed while they in that place, or is that a state crime?
It depends. I think it depends on if you do like federal crime is like, I feel like it's more like racketeering than I'm just guessing. Then I think when you're doing state, you like petty drugs or some shit, I guess.
It's not necessarily that, because you can have racketeering, you can have federal crimes for drugs, you can have federal crimes for terrorism, you can have federal crimes. It's the avenue. It's okay. Was it a state crime with the drug thing? If you were running a drug kingpin, bringing it into the throughout the U.S., that's going to be more of a federal case.
Okay.
Commerce laws.
But the whole thing too with the federal, when you talk about, Fed time is easy time, that's because they're held to a different standard. There's different regulations. There's different things that have to be put in place. It's ran by the federal government. The guards and everything are from the federal government. The state ones, or the penitentiaries, like I said, those are privatized. A lot of them are. That's why you had judges getting in trouble, because they were purposely sentencing people harder times or whatever else, and then getting a cut from the prison. That was happening a lot with juvies.
Yeah, I never understood if they say they're doing, man, you're doing Fed time, you got nothing to worry about. I never understood it, because prison's prison. I mean, you locked up.
But the judge or the guards and stuff are different. The treatment is different.
Oh, okay.
It is a known fact that because for the state prisons, you don't have to have law enforcement. You're employed by that prison. You're not employed through the state. You're not employed through the federal government. It is known that in a lot of prisons, especially in the South, there are a lot of KKK and racist guards that take those jobs so they can abuse Black and brown people. It's coming out more that, there's more and more reports coming out, but it is a known fact. So yeah, stuff is different. The treatment and stuff is harsh because it's easier to sweep things under the rug and nobody really looks at it when it's at the state level, your prisons, penitentiaries, juvenile centers.
Okay.
So the question I have, and y'all made all good relevant points, right? Y'all made all good, relevant points. But I don't know what's going on with my thing. Hopefully y'all got that. I put the link in the chat. I don't know what was going on over there. Let me read his chat. Lynn Ray said, "Thank you, panel, for joining Ms. T and discussing topic at hand. We really appreciate your input, regardless of agreement or disagreement. Thank you. Thank you, King. That's what we want to be like." And he also said, "I'm sorry, this is a atrocity that there's no more people here to engage in this most interesting topic. This is a problem with D." Thank you. But you know, they watch me in reruns sometimes. I take it how I can get it. But when I'm doing a boxing show, I try not to talk about politics. And I hate sound bites and all that because the full story don't ever get told. So we just learned that senators and congressmen at the federal level do not write their bills. They've probably been lobbied by a company of Fortune 500 company or GE. I'm just naming companies. All these companies lobby them to put in laws. Why? That's a whole nother story, because some people feel like it's their business to try to run other people, you know. But they lobby these senators and congressmen, promising them money for their campaign and side money, pocket change. This is
further than that. It actually goes further than that. So, and that's me talking to people that actually work on Capitol Hill and knowing people that worked directly for senators and congressmen.
And there's also their aides.
Well, there's a lot. There's a couple points I'm gonna bring up. One is when people get so frustrated at the president or vice president, a lot of times they have a misunderstanding of where changes are enacted or who can affect what level of changes. They want the president or vice president to fix everything. That a lot of it needs to start at your state and your local elections, which a lot of people don't do. They wait till the president, you know, it's time to vote for a president. He's going to do all these changes. He can't. He doesn't have the power. So it's a misunderstanding of where those powers lie. You have to vote at your local ones. You have to vote at your state elections. Otherwise, you're never going to see the changes that you're wanting to enact. The other thing is, a lot of times you get candidates. They have the best intent. Now, you do have some that'll tell you whatever you want to hear just to get the vote. But you also have a bigger problem is you have personnel that are voted in that want to make a change. The realistic thing is when they go and they're elected, as soon as they hit DC, they have the people that have been put in power and lobbyists that sit down with them and say, yeah, that was great. But if you want to keep this job, if you want to get reelected, this is what you're going to do. And their hands are tied. Now that gets into the whole discussion that people have too on mandatory term limits for Congress and everything else. Now, when the Constitution was originally written, the reason the forefathers did not write mandatory term limits for this is because during that time, they had their own land, everything else to tend to. That was seen as an extra duty, was seen as a burden. Nobody wanted to do it. They went in, they did their service for their little time, and then they went home and the next person rolled in. They didn't have the foresight to see that you were going to get people to come in and just want to make that their job. Well, what that created then is the condition for lobbyists to come in and take control, seize control of the government.
And what I was getting at with the term limits, right? Because everybody's mad at the crime bill. So we know now that Joe Biden did not write that because he sponsored it. And truth be told, the crime bill that everybody's upset with, because nobody can point to which crime bill. Because if you go from 1900 all the way up to now, it's thousands of them. Which one? So when I asked the question, the difference between fair time and regular prison time, there is a distinction. If you get charged for a federal crime, you're going to federal prison. If you get charged for anything other than a federal crime, you're going to prison or penitentiary in that state in which you commit that crime. Now, so if congressmen and senators at the federal level can only enact laws and policies for federal offenses, did Joe Biden or whoever else that people don't like, did they put Pookie in jail, who's serving time on the farm, who's serving time in the penitentiary? Is they responsible for that, or was it the state? You know what I'm saying? And this is what I mean by people. I would love to hear the answer, because no congressman, and correct me if I'm wrong, Karma, because I know she know, if no congressman or senator at the federal level can make a law outside of federal laws, then who is responsible for the crime bill? So we just gonna act like the states didn't make it harder? Because what you can do, a state can make laws harder. They can never rescind federal laws. That's what they can do. So all this unjust shit that's happening to black folks throughout the country, packing these jails that are not federal jails, that didn't come from no federal law. That came from a state making it more stringent and holding those people accountable to that. Well, so that's why I have a problem with misdirected anger, because I'm like, if you're going to be angry with somebody, sure, be angry with them. But be angry with them for what they did. And if you elect a president and you don't give him a Congress that's going to ride with whatever he said he want to do, then what you mad at? You can be no more mad at you. You got to be mad at yourself. Just like she said, local politicians, we all need to vote for them too. We need to vote up and down the ladder. It's a team effort, y'all. But go ahead.
The other thing too is there was, and I don't know if it's still, but I know for a long time there was kind of a gentleman's agreement that when one person was out the door, whatever they supported or whatever they wrote or pushed forward, presented to everyone else to come in, the incoming personnel would adopt and go ahead and sign it out of respect for the person going out. That's the other thing people fail to realize. So there is an entire lot, but the biggest problem today is even the ones that are elected, when they go in and want to make change, they are told, no, it's not happening. This is what you're going to do. If not, X, Y, Z. It's a career killer. It's whatever else for them. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those where a lot of times their hands are forced.
Exactly. That's what I was. Thank you, Birdman. That's what I was trying to say about, and I'm not mad. I can't break down shit in small time, and I'm not gonna go to nobody's show and try to, I'm respecting their show. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't enough time to say what I had to say, but Joe Biden was in a precarious nature. I'm not capping for him. He did what he had to do to get elected. I told y'all too, I believe all politicians are liars. With the job. It comes with the job. So do I think Joe Biden get up there and lie to the people? Not hell to the motherfucking yes. But so do Trump and so do everybody else. But I make my distinctions based on when people show you who they are. You got to really believe them. Trump don't like black people. He never have. I don't care that he was popular back in the day with rappers because they thought he had money. He also had a daddy that bailed him out no matter how much he fucked up. He fucked up all the time, and he made bad business decisions. He was just a good ass criminal. That's what he was.
But also, I want to thank Trump too, because if it wasn't for Trump, we wouldn't really know who our enemies are. Now we know who our enemies are. They're out in the open. They ain't trying to hide. Mm-hmm. So we need to thank Trump for that.
And he did some good stuff.
I see where you were going with that.
Yeah, I know. He did some good stuff too, because he pardoned Jack Johnson. Who else would have did that? Every president. Kodak, I don't really give a fuck about that. But every president, when you look back historically, was necessary. Now, everybody on this tip about they hate Obama. But I'm telling you, when you address minority issues, everybody benefits. Okay? And we got to stop mixing contemporary times with the past. In the past, black people didn't vote a lot. And now we somehow know our power. And we actually realizing it and actually voting. And that's a good thing. But if you look back and say, oh, what about back then? They ain't care about, they cared about who was going to put them in power, like Carmen said. And if you're not the group that's relevant for putting the person in power, why should they focus on you?
Now, here goes things too, where people say that, well, I don't vote because it's not going to count. It's not going to make a difference. You're actually very wrong.
Ooh.
Wrong as can be. Your vote does count. You bought into whatever little bullshit they fed you, so that way you don't vote. So that way you can't go against it. You can't help affect change because you have no voice. You chose to give it up.
I voted independent.
But what has that independent person? Now, I'm not mad at
All
you,
right,
Birdman.
I'll tell you
But
this.
what
This
has
is
that
me.
independent
I'll tell you
person
my
did for
reason
you?
for voting. I've never voted
Mm-hmm.
for anything in my life until last year for the
Mm-hmm.
okay, I voted, but my stance is I'm more on religion. I believe nothing's going to change. I mean, in my heart of hearts, nothing's going to change until God comes back and changes. So the march and all that other stuff's not going to change. We just got to figure out a way to get along until He comes. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm for
But
anything that's right.
But we all gonna be here. Like, I can't follow nothing just to be following it. I can't be mad and live in chaos and anarchy just to be live. I don't choose to live the life that God gave me. God willing, I live to be in my late 90s or something. We don't know how long we're gonna live, but I don't choose to raise my kids and live in chaos and anarchy for the sake of living in chaos and anarchy. I'd rather raise my children in a decent environment and with no violence around and this, that, and other. That's what I
I get it.
choose to do, and that's what I worked hard to do. So a lot of times, a lot of these protests and stuff, I'm not with it, because where is it going? If you don't get up and vote for your mayors, get the fuck out of my face. You
And
don't
see,
care about what you saying you care about, because if you did, you would ensure that you had a mayor that thought like you.
here they really don't even tell you when they're voting to put like you got a judge that's getting ready to be voted
Mm-hmm.
in. They don't even tell you half that stuff when they're doing that. Or like or
They
at
might
the
not
city.
push it. They might not push it, but at the same point too, you can't use that as an excuse when there is so much technology at your fingertips.
You're
You got
right.
no problem looking up a movie when it's coming out or looking up whatever. You can find that stuff out.
I've gotten more into
Mm-hmm.
politics now that my youngest daughter is 6 years old and she's in school now. I've gotten a lot more like with the curricular that they're teaching the kids. So I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
You know what? A lot of people make sound bites and get you riled up and all that stuff, but y'all don't even know what their true agenda is. A lot of people, like for instance, a lot of people, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, a lot of people started to hate on Democrats, and kudos to the Republicans. They have been successful at it, but it was born out of Democrats gonna take the guns, and we know goddamn well that shit ain't gonna happen. It hasn't
Facts.
happened in the whole 20th century. Is never ever gonna happen. But that's the premise of their anger. So what they'll do is they'll lock on to shit like Kamala Harris jailed 1,000 black men. What you're really mad at is you don't want nobody to vote for her because she's a Democrat, and the fact that she married a white man, but you
Well,
can't say that. So what you're really mad at is, you think Democrats, you believe the hype that Democrats gonna take your gun, and it
well,
don't matter what we say going forward, you will always believe that.
it's a
See,
diversion
that's
tactic. So if you
I'm sorry.
attack your enemy, you never have to put up front and fight and show what you stand for. What is it you
Mm-hmm.
want to do? What you want to, and what you are wanting to change, or what your true agenda is. You can
Mm-hmm.
hide that under all the smear and the hate and the spreading the stuff.
But the thing,
That's the bigger
I'm
thing.
sorry.
Oh,
But the
go
thing
ahead.
about it is, I don't see why people would get mad. I mean, I'm not mad that she married a white man. She's not even black. I mean, she can marry who she wants. I mean, that's the choice everybody makes. If you're judging her because she married a white man, something you got to really check yourself. I think that's not a good reason not to like somebody because she married a white man.
Well, look, there's problems that come with interracial dating or marriage or whatever. Carmen can tell you hers. I could tell you mine. She could
Yeah.
tell you from a white woman perspective. Like she could tell you that I let her speak her words, but
Oh
she've
no, T,
already said it.
my
She've
kids lit.
already
So
said it. Yeah, but she've already said it. The same people that be saying Black Power be sliding in her DMs.
but can
And
I
I
tell
could
you the
tell,
truth?
hold tight. And I could tell you a truth. The same white people that be like white power be sliding into mine,
Okay, let me tell you
knocking
my
on
truth
my
though.
door.
If I could, if I
Mm-hmm.
could, my first choice in life would be a black girl. I mean, I mean, they're not attracted to me, period. I
Poor
don't know
boys.
why.
So I'm gonna say this much: what I have seen with my personal thing is the issue becomes when and I'm going to speak just from, like I said, from my experience, when it comes to some of the black men that try and hit on you, whatever else, I don't care. Love who you want, date whatever ethnicity, it really shouldn't matter. Love who you love. My problem is when somebody of one ethnicity dates outside of their own and wants to down their own ethnicity, i.e., I've heard a lot, black women this, black women get, they're loud, they're angry, whatever else. You came from a black person. What that tells me is that you're looking for somebody that's weak, that you think is gullible, because nobody else in your ethnicity is going to deal with your bullshit. So you feed into those negative stereotypes, or whatever stereotypes the media and society has fed your dumbass. And you look for a weak person on the outside.
And insecurities.
Downing your own, that's where I have an issue.
And insecurities has a lot to do with their own insecurities. Let me get these chats. Lynn Ray say, I'm 52 years old. Change is extremely slow. If you believe anything else, you're delusional. Let me inform you, dollars is king and rules. He also said, gentlemen's agreement, haha. These politicians renege on showing up to mom's birthday. And then he said, yes, Carmen has relevant points. I also voted independent. I vote policy, not party. I think Birdman said he was independent as well. He said, relevant correction. And a bunch of emojis. And Lynn Ray said, really, who gives a rat ass the color of her life partner? How irrelevant. It's relevant because you have to deal with it. And Lynn Ray said, Carmen is not Brazilian. I don't know what that one came from. Lynn Ray said, oh God, funny white brother.
So a mixture of Middle Eastern, Sicilian, German, and French.
Italian. And see, when she just said Sicilian, already somebody black in that line. So, hey, we all come from the same 5 black women. But, when it comes to, why we mad at Kamala Harris, that's the only reason why I'm opening up politics, because I know that's a sensitive subject, and I'm not trying to down nobody, but a lot of people don't even know how their government works, and that's just a shame. It's not like they ignorant. That shit is done by design. You're not going to dethrone the government. So anybody who has a fantasy of that, let it out, let it go, let it out your head. That's not going to happen. Any word that you telling people that they should move towards, have everything, the what ifs and everything mapped out. Segregation to me is not practical. It's not going to work out because guess what? Everybody ain't going to follow it. I'm going to give you an example. So we know the difference between Warsaw countries and, the other country, like take Germany, the way Germany was split up, right? And so you got East Germany, then you had America had a part, France had a part, all the different countries kind of split Berlin like that or whatever. So you had Warsaw countries, meaning they subscribe to communism and socialism, which is the theory, never realized. Did people try to practice it? Yes, they did. But it was never realized because the minute you participate in globalization, i.e. trading, you're not communist and you're not a socialist. So what did they do? They had a buffer state, East Germany, and they participated in globalization. And they parcel out the stuff that they gained from that participation to those countries to help them survive. But it turned on them. It backfired because it never could sustain itself, right? So when people talk about capitalization or the different economies like mercantilism, capitalism, and all this stuff, this is what I mean. If you into capitalism, then you're into globalization. My tongue tie. Globalization. You're into trading. That's what you're doing. We know that China was always a communist country for the longest. Communism is good if you want to have absolute power and rule over your people. Socialism is good when you can pick the winners. Nobody that I talk to on here sounds like they want to be some rooty-poo person that follow along and do what people say and just be stagnated at one level. But that's what happens when you have socialism. So this country has a little bit of both. It's probably 70% capitalism and 30% socialism. And it's a good thing. that's a happy balance. I'm not totally against socialism, but I don't want that to be the predominant economy that we live under. I am for capitalism, but I like the mixture, right? And so when people talking about who they like as their politician and what direction they going, you should be thinking on them terms, because America is not, they are not, let me repeat. And I lived, like when she was talking about, you never left your city. I lived all over the world, and I ain't talking about for a few days. I lived in Europe twice. I lived in Asia. I've been to Russia. I know what I'm talking about. No American here wants to live in no communist socialist regime. None. I promise you, you don't. Because it's too much things that we enjoy as Americans that y'all love to death. And some of the shit y'all don't even know that's a part of globalization or the government. Like when people say they hate the government, I'm not saying the government is innocent. I just don't understand the profound hate. You like sidewalks? Government. You like streets? Government. Highways? Government. We can go on and on and on. Clean water? Government. Fresh air? Government. But then the people that tell you they want to give that and keep that tradition going, y'all hate. And you say, oh, she jailed 1,000 black men, as if these black men were innocent, church-going, law-abiding citizens. And I'm not saying they wasn't. Well, we don't know that, but that's not the picture they paint. So the two questions that I started off with was, is segregation the way to go? I say no. And why do we hate Kamala Harris? If we hate Kamala Harris, then we should love, because she jailed 1,000 black men. If we hate her for that because she didn't do her job, then we should love the white woman that tried to sweep the Ahmaud Arbery crime under the rug. We should love her because she didn't do her job neither. And that's why her ass on trial. So we think Kamala's supposed to give up her life and her liberty and her career for us. What the fuck we ever do for her? I mean, come on, man. I'm talking about before she became vice president. So we lost Birdman. But you see what I'm saying, Carmen? Lynn Ray said, yes, Carmen has relevant points. I also voted independent. We lost you for a second. I voted policy, not party. Oh, I think I read all those. And he said, really, who get? Okay, I read that one too. I read that one. Oh God, funny white brother. Carmen, no disrespect, Queen seems. He said, I gotta mute you, Birdman. Lynn Ray said, Carmen, no disrespect, Queen seems like a stretch. Dearest, where are all our potpourri of something or another, but from ashes to dust. And I have a veneration for the panel tonight. we just said water is key. As I always start to show off with water check, I drink 80 ounces of water. How about yourself, Carmen? You muted yourself.
My second bottle.
What about you, Birdman? You drank your water today? Birdman, we can't hear you. But just come in when you can. But I always say the importance of drinking water. We should all, if we don't do nothing else, we should drink at least a gallon of water a day. We should. That's what the goal is. But a lot of times we just shoot for 100 ounces. Dad says she is coming. She might get a couple, like 10 minutes with us or whatever. But yeah, that's all I was coming at people for, in a nice way. I'm just explaining myself. I really thought Michael Fuller was going to be here because I would have loved for him to be on the panel, because I address some political issues or whatever. But that's where my mind that's how my mind works. First of all, I'm looking at everybody as a human. I'm not looking at them no other kind of way. And when I talk about racism and stuff in boxing, it do exist. I'm talking about what it is happening. But I'm not putting a jacket on everybody. Do understand, I wasn't there during slavery. I see the effects of it, the negative effects, even to this day. So I'm of mind to not let us go backwards. So when somebody say, "Oh, segregation," I feel like that's going backwards. That's why I spoke on it. Carmen. She said she had a little accident. What you got anything to add? Because I know Dad said she coming, but if she don't make it here soon enough, we'll end.
Nah, I think made the points and stuff. So like I said, I'm all for building community and like building generational wealth and building up your communities and everything else. But when you take it to segregation, that's where I draw the line. You're taking 10 steps back.
Birdman, you want to add something?
Well, I learned not to use the word segregation for me women, and I like the knowledge y'all were pushing out, and you did teach me something about Kamala Harris, that she didn't make those state laws or didn't sign any state things, so we can't blame that on her. I just got to give her a bit. I guess I got to give her a chance because, I don't know. I was just nitpicking.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We didn't come. We all came to speak our piece. I didn't necessarily come in here to make a change in people's mind.
Open-minded. I'm open-minded to a lot of stuff.
And so am I. Right. And
I appreciate y'all for that.
Look, we got to at least say hi to Dez. Dez said, "I'm here." There you go. The link is in the chat, Dez. But yeah, again, a lot of times when you're trying to understand the government in which you live in, because they don't teach it in civics like they used to, and that should be taught every year of your high school year, it's coming upon yourself to go learn how the government works in the country you live in. You should know how that works. And to be angry at certain stuff and not have the full story, that's the problem I have.
But part of the issue too is our education system is continuously declining. We have one of the worst education system when it comes to primary schools in the world. I think we are like 26 or maybe further below, and that's purposeful. You keep the people ignorant, you can control them easier. Yeah. And the thing is, for as much technology as we have on hand, we've also created kind of an instant gratification culture to where people have become lazy. They don't want to they want everything spoon-fed to them. And when they look up stuff, they only want to look up stuff that fits their narrative, their point of view, their mind. And they don't fact check. They don't do the research to verify the sources that they are pulling the information from are actually legitimate sources.
Hey, Des, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Are you all right?
Yeah. Just some slippery ass snow.
Some slippery snow. You done got yourself in some deep Shaquille.
Girl, I did a split.
Oh, damn. The car?
I didn't know I could do a split. The who?
Oh, you talking about you personally? I thought the car ran into some snowbank or something.
No, me did a split.
Ooh. Y'all know she up there in North Dakota, somewhere in the snow.
Literally.
Lynn Ray said US. Oh, yeah.
Hi. Hi, Karma. Hi, T. Hi,
hey.
Hey, whoever else in the building.
He said me and you are on his hit list. Probably how we acted this last Friday.
Hey, Miss T, have y'all went back to look at that video yet?
Hell no.
Let me tell you. I started off the show. I don't know if y'all was here. Facebook be doing me dirty. Somebody is tripping. They be getting me for copyrights. Like, I have a mixer. I don't even use it no more. I'm gonna show y'all. This was the new mixer that I use. So suffice to say, everything that I bought if I bought this mixer, I can use everything on it, right? Not according to Facebook. They hit me up for copyrights.
Do them separate because Facebook, YouTube's not going to hit you for it.
Right.
Just try to do them separate when you do the music.
That's what, you know what, I'm getting off of Facebook probably because they keep hitting me up and I'm not getting violations from YouTube. It's just Facebook's, but Facebook working in conjunction with YouTube. And so they'll either delete or stall my show. And I don't like that shit. I feel like a conspiracy going on. So I don't like that shit.
We're gonna have to talk, and I'll talk you how to disable a lot of the Facebook bots that monitor how to close out to keep them off your stuff.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna stay out of Facebook and just do a picture, be like, "Hey, I'm going on in 5 minutes or whatever." Lynn Ray said USDA recommendations is 16 cups for men and 12 cups for women. That's about 96 ounces of water. Is what I pretty much reach on a daily, sometimes, or between 80 and 96%. Look at all that snow. I see. Girl, you better focus right now. Lynn Ray also said, but depends on your level of excretion. Yeah, you gotta have to build yourself up to it. Lynn Ray said, Miss T and Carmen speak with a veracity that's much appreciated. We appreciate you, King. And Lynn Ray said, edit vivacity, please edit. But yeah, in the end of the day, Des, we had a nice little conversation. We ain't gonna stay on too long. We was talking about why people hate Kamala Harris and why is segregation the way to go for Black people. We ain't gonna go in depth. We're not gonna go in depth, but we'll give you a chance to answer this.
No.
No what?
No, you already got my answer on the thing.
You said what?
Nothing.
Des is not gonna she said I'm not gonna participate. Lynn Ray said I'm currently in the what is this? Adirondack Mountains. I don't know what that is. In Old Forge, New York, the snowmobile trails open December 6th, and the trails are wicked.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what that is, Karma?
Yeah, from being stationed before in upstate New York. Yeah, I know. I don't ever want that snow again.
I don't do well in cold places. Hell to the now. I ain't trying to die like shit. I'm gonna tell you, I went to Pittsburgh on the first day of spring, and I was so goddamn cold, and it snowed. Girl, I was like, that ain't for me. There's no way I can make it.
No.
But you will get acclimated. I know you can, but I don't choose to. I don't want to be somewhere on the opposite end of the spectrum too, so goddamn hot.
After you get a cold weather injury, though, yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I busted my tailbone about 2016. That shit's still in heal.
So what's the difference? Cold weather injury, like.
So cold weather injury. So I had mild frostbite in my hands and feet.
Yeah,
and I have Raynaud's. I have Raynaud's phenomena. So when it starts getting into like the 50s, I start losing capillary refill in my hands and feet. And it doesn't take much, even with it like properly bundled with layers, everything else, for them to start freezing again, for re-injury, for me to, I'm more susceptible to keep becoming a cold weather injury. So
damn. I don't even want to know what that feel like. I bet you it hurts. Des, you look like you have pain. But Des is not going to answer. She can't Johnny come lately, but it's all to the good. But we had a nice conversation, and we respect everybody's opinion. And I know some of you are not going to believe or want to believe what we said, and that's okay. That's all right. We just told y'all things from our point of view, and Birdman said things from his point of view. My objective was not to change nobody's political mindset or anything, because I believe that's a right that you have. You have a right to do what it is you want. I always like to be clear at why we actually mad, and I cannot follow misdirected anger. I just can't do it. That's why I make the decisions that I make, And because I might know some of the background stories, I don't know everything, but I know some things. And, when we talk about politicians, as I told you, all politicians are liars. All of them. Even my favorite ones, they're liars. If we talk about the crime bill, which one? Can somebody tell me a federal law that was made by a federal politician and how that translate to Pookie and them in state pen or the penitentiary? Can we make that connection? That Pookie and Ray Ray and them?
I can't think right now. You threw me off with that.
Yeah, I mean, can we correlate the two? Because what we do know is they can only make laws for federal laws. They can make federal laws. Anything, if you're not arrested for a federal crime, then you can't be mad at Joe Biden for the crime bill. I'm just saying. I ain't say he perfect. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna be angry with him over that.
Let me ask you a question, Ms. T. Let me ask you a question. So, you say we can't be mad at Joe Biden or Harris. So, but how does it feel when they're in office and something makes like world news that something that's happened in a state, a racist state that's happened to a black person, and they're quiet about it, don't do anything about it? Does that not make you mad?
To a certain extent. There's
Because
quiet,
I feel like
there's quiet. Hold on, let me answer. There's quiet and then there's strategy. Okay, we can't say what they're not doing because they don't have to tell you everything. But we, like someone said in the chat, justice moves slow. It has always been that way. Now, if you can show me that he is an anomaly and that he is doing, whoever he is, whether it was Obama in the office, whether it's Biden in office, whether it's Clinton in office, any Democrat y'all want to name, or Republicans, when you can show, even Trump, if you can show me that they're an anomaly, that they were doing something different. If they was doing something different from everybody else, then I could be mad. But go ahead.
I think Trump was an anomaly.
Yeah, to a certain extent. But I'm going to tell you, historically, when you look back, and I'm not a Trump lover at all. I'm glad he's gone. But when you look back historically, you're going to see the relevance of him. He was relevant. You can say that about every United States president, whether you like them or not. They were relevant. They did something that we have all benefited from for years and years and years and years. That's just a fact. It's just a fact. I know people can't see that. I know people don't want to believe that, but it's a fact. They talk about Carter like a dog, but now we're starting to see how relevant and good he really was. But hey, it was political fodder. It was propaganda. People in the business are trying to get elected. They're going to throw mud at the wall and whichever sticks. This is how they win their elections because that power is what they get drunk off and they want to keep it. But if you don't like long terms, why ain't nobody doing nothing about it? I think Carmen spoke to that about long terms and why it started. But when the president is elected, like right now, he hasn't been in for a year. Who amongst you are trying their best to get out long term? You ain't gonna get no Republican or Democrat to agree to that shit. You just ain't.
No, they make too much money.
So why do you direct your anger at a certain group? That's what, not you, Birdman, but I'm just saying, why do you, the proverbial you, direct your anger at a certain group and say, it's this group that's doing all that? How? What are you doing? And my Joe Madison voice, he always be like, well, what you doing? You come on there complaining on his show, he be like, who is your congressman? I can tell you who mine is, Rick Allen. Tell you straight up. I can tell you who my senators are too.
I can tell you mine.
The black one.
And they ain't no good.
I said the white one and the black one. Yeah. Alabama, won't y'all the one about the elect the damn pedophile? Won't that y'all?
No, she's a dyke.
Oh, not her. But I'm talking about Roy Moore or whatever his name was. Won't that your state?
The brothers didn't put him in there.
Well, it won't enough for y'all, and it seemed to me it probably should be an equal number of black folks to white folks to
When,
whoever in
when they do that
Alabama.
voting, when they do that voting stuff here, people that should win aren't
Hmm.
going to win. That's how it always been. It's already set. So no matter how many times a person votes for that one person, they're not giving it to them. Everything is rigged.
It is, but what did Carmen say? If y'all voted from all the way down the bottom, all the way up, you can stop that rigging. Because who makes the rigging? That's the governor.
But that formula doesn't work. I've heard people say that formula does not work. It hasn't worked.
Gerrymandering is at the hands of governors, and they do work because if you get somebody in there that you know that's going to represent you and stop sitting home and not voting, because when you sit home and not vote, you still are picking a side. You are voting. So when you get that governor in that is all about gerrymandering, then that's what the hell you going to get. And you can cry all day long, but that's what you're going to get. And you're going to get cheated, and you're not going to have representatives because it's intended to be that way.
See, but they don't tell y'all, like when people get in office down here, people march. They march the Capitol, and the state buildings down here. Guess where they go? Straight to jail. Not many people getting them out of jail.
That's true. And nothing in life, I'm not diminishing this. You are absolutely right, Birdman. But nothing comes without a struggle. Just think of how it was in the 60s, just to vote. Just to vote.
That's that thing I was talking about earlier. The same stuff they've been doing for years and years ago up until now hadn't worked. So the formula is broken. That stuff's not going to work. They put who they want to in there. They just make it sound good. They have to put on the show.
The reason why I say I don't want to think like that, and I understand why a person can feel that way, because we were once slaves, right? Are we slaves today? So we cannot say the shit don't work. Shit do work. It just don't work as fast as we want them to, or just like we want them to. And there will be casualties all along the way, but it do work. The formula did work. We got rights and privileges and stuff 100 years ago we wouldn't even have. But it took somebody to stand up and work at it, and risk their life, But who amongst us today is really about their life?
You really don't think we're slaves?
Huh?
You really don't think we're slaves?
Yeah, we can be. You can be a slave, is what you say. You can have that as a mentality, but no, I don't think we slaves like that. I think we are still being enslaved, but I don't think it's on that level. And you can carve out a piece of happiness for yourself if you so choose.
But
then you can go ahead.
I'm sorry, Miss T. When you say you can carve out, I broke you up. When you carve out a piece of happiness, so you so choose, I feel like that is settling. No offense.
I don't, but see, everything I got, I work for. And let me tell you, the whole way through, I was discriminated against. I'm discriminated against now. You know who give me most discriminations? And I'm not bitter, so don't y'all be sitting up there like black people. Black men, to be exact, discriminate against me quicker than shit. Me and Karma could be standing somewhere, and guess who they gonna favor? Her. Guess who they gonna discriminate? Me against me.
They ain't got no home training, Miss T.
It's not just that. It's the culture. It's the way it is. But I could choose to live in that way and be like, oh, damn, I can't never get a fair shake. Which I can complain, which I do. But I ain't gonna live in that state. I'm gonna keep plugging because what's for me, ain't nobody gonna stop it.
I tell you what's rare. The generation that used to teach us has died out. That used to teach the younger guys have died out. So what we got left now, or the 50 and 60 years old who ain't got no direction.
Dad said you talking about you.
Yeah.
Nah,
I'm talking about on the man side. On the man side, we got the 50 and 60-year-olds who's not giving the younger guys any direction, and the stuff that they're giving, it ain't helpful.
Women too. Women too. Yeah, because our generation, when you say that, you talking about my generation, and I don't take offense because there's a lot of stuff that we hadn't imparted upon our children that our parents imparted upon us, and that's sad. You know, it's a travesty at this point. I can't go back and get a do over, but it's something I know. I'll be looking at my kids and I'll be like, "Oh, I missed that. How did I miss not telling them this or telling them that?" It happens to all of us, and looking back in hindsight and reflecting, you see where you made mistakes.
Hey,
But,
Miss T, I
yeah.
got a story to tell. When my 20-year-old, he was about 5 years old, and I took him to visit his cousins for the first time. You know, they lived in the projects, so you know, I wanted him to meet his people on his side. And I got a dark complected cousin. He said, come here, Trey. Let me give you a hug." He said, "No." I said, "Trey, don't treat your cousin like that." I said, "Why are you acting like that?" He said, "Because she's black." He thought it was going to rub off on him.
Mm,
And so I
yeah.
taught them from that day forward, you know, who their people are, never judge a person no matter what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
And now to this day, his compassion is people. Like my
Mm.
compassion is people, but my compassion is for my people. I don't want our people to make any excuses or give the government a pat on the back. So every time we get a chance to dog out the government, we should, because they could do more. They could do better.
But you can spend your time doing something else more effective and efficient. Like for me, Fred says a lot of things. Like when he said, "Why y'all waiting? Why are y'all waiting for somebody to give you or do something? Get up and do it yourself." Now, if you put more energy into that, you wouldn't have time to worry about the government. Only thing you need to worry about the government is when they make a law that's contrary to whatever it is you doing. And yes, if you say as a black man, there's a lot of shit that's contrary to us. We already know that as black people, you're gonna fall into some or get some bumps and scrapes along the way, and that's putting it lightly.
I
But
always
you don't need to dwell in that. Like whatever I have, I'm not waiting for no man, no woman, no government to give me. I'm going to go get it. And when it's mine, it's mine legally.
but you know
That's how
how
I'm gonna do it.
tiring it is for like us as black people or us as black men. I mean, people get tired of hearing all this. Oh, you always saying it's black this, black that. But it's a burden, and it's stressful, and it gets tiring sometimes. People think we're supposed to always smile and chuckle when life ain't really about that, man. It's about survival, and the same people that's supposed to help us are keeping us down.
Yep, I
But you know
agree.
what? That's equally. I feel you, and that's true. And we should take that in consideration because we always like the black man do this, the black man do that. But same thing for women, and I'm assuming every woman can feel this. You acting like a little bitch. Just like y'all bitches be doing this, and everything negative is attributed to women. I don't understand that either, but I understand it's the culture. So I know that that's not me. So I be like, well, they're not talking about me, and so I get past it. I know I listen to what they're trying to say, as opposed to what they actually say. Just so because if you do, how you gonna think highly of yourself as a woman, especially a black woman, with everything that's been said about black women? How would you ever see the beauty in yourself if you listen to the powers that be? And the powers that be is everybody who wants to speak on a black woman or woman in general.
Why do you think these black women be walking around here looking like clowns with blonde hair, blue eyes? Because that's basically what some of our men want. And
Oh, I didn't know where you was going with that. Karma had that look too. We was like, where you going with that? But yeah,
So, I mean,
I agree.
there are black people that naturally have blue eyes or blonde hair. Like there are people blacks with naturally red hair, with natural blonde, like blonde hair. The stuff's
But
natural.
no,
it's
Yeah,
really
considered a
talking about the
defect too,
chicks.
though.
I'm really talking about the chicks that go buy those wigs
yeah.
and put the blonde Like, that's what I'm talking about. I know there are Black people that do exist with blonde hair and blue eyes, things like that. But as far as it's really funny because white women are trying to be Black and Black women are trying to be white.
And you know what? It's the culture. Is what we wrapped up in. And that's why it's important to know your identity. And that's when we be talking about politics or the Bible and all that, you get wrapped up in people's identity. And the worst thing you could do is to take somebody's identity from them, because that will make them go ape shit. Because if they believe what they believe, you will have hell on your hands trying to convert them to something else. But in the end of the day, why do women date guys with their pants hanging off their ass? I don't purposely do that. I ain't knocking nobody who do, but that ain't for me. But you know what? If women as a collective start dissing men who wear their pants off their ass, guess what? They won't have no place at the table. Butter is in the building. Let me get to do some of these chats.
Hey, Miss Butter.
Lynn Ray.
What's going on, ladies?
What's up? Lynn Ray said most African Americans consider Republicans obtuse. Shaking my head. They need to be reprogrammed and judged on policy. He also said they felt Obama was irreproachable. I never felt that, but I know what you mean, King. And he said, I disagree. Black men would have a predilection for Queen Carmen, Queen Miss T. Okay. And Lynn Ray said, Queen Miss T, you are a paragon of resilience. Okay, with all the words.
We gonna get this Western dictionary.
Lynn Ray said, regardless of color. Yeah, you know what? Listen, I'm who I am. I didn't choose to be me no more than Carmen chose to be her, no more than Dez, Butter, or Birdman. We are who we are. And if you don't love you, then ain't nobody gonna love you. But the world ain't promised to love you. You know what I'm saying? That's something we have to practice, to love everybody. And that's not easy. That's part of your trials and tribulations. You're not supposed to go through this earth like getting everything you want, when you want, how you want. That's not how life is supposed to be. You're supposed to have some trials and tribulations on the way, and God gives you free will, and He want to see what you choose. And that's just the nuts and bolts of it. So I mean, I'm not hanging nobody up by their ankles, but over superficial shit. And that's why I was talking about segregation, and that's why I was talking about Kamala Harris, because that's what I feel that they were doing to her, hanging her up by her ankle over superficial shit. And I just can't be a part of that. I just can't. I really don't see no daylight between this woman and other people who have had her job, black, white, yellow, purple, whatever. But, you know, she gonna get persecuted, and ain't nothing I could do about it. But I just spoke my piece. But you late.
And that is why I did not. Well, that's not the reason why I didn't participate in this panel. But
yes, it is. I'm just joking. Go ahead.
No,
that is why.
No, but for real, that is why. Because you asked me earlier, and I said what I was gonna say, but I was like, I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Me and Carmen been rocking for this whole show. We ain't had no problems, have we, Carmen? And Birdman.
Facts.
We had no problem.
Quit being scared.
No, she has a right. That, I mean, because me and Carmen, even I seen Carmen, and let me tell y'all about this girl, Carmen now. Carmen don't hold that tongue for nobody. And that's a good thing. That girl is strong-minded. She know what she know. And Carmen was like very carefully choosing her words. It's funny to see because I don't know her like that. You know what I'm saying, Carmen? I don't know you like that. She was choosing them words real carefully. And that's okay because it is a sensitive subject and it could go left real quick. It could go left real quick.
I mean, I will say this. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind segregation. I wouldn't mind
That's
it.
her. How do you feel, Butter? I'm sorry. I thought you was done.
I mean, I feel like because like I was telling T earlier, I said, do you know how many people don't know that we used to rule Europe, or we taught white people how to wash their ass?
How do you feel, Butter?
I'm just saying, like, nobody
Yeah.
really knows about
We-
the Moors. You don't hear about that in school unless you go to a predominantly black college or whatever, or you go to a black school. You don't hear nothing of that. You always hear slavery. And then every year it's something different that comes out. Oh, well, on, Monday through Friday, the slaves, they work, they didn't work all that hard. They got breaks, they got this. But then back in the day when I went to school, they all you hear about is they whip their ass. So I mean, I feel like it's okay to be segregated. It's all right.
You probably got to go back and watch the show to see what we were saying about not to rehash, because we'll be here another 3 hours, but not to rehash it. But hey, I respect your opinion, and I'm gonna ask Butter how you feel about it. Look, she's shaking her head. You better. We got you, Dez. We got you over here. We still love you. How about that?
Okay,
We
first
still
of all,
love you.
I'm just coming in, so tell me the whole topic.
Right. My point. I already knew what the topic was before I came in.
The topic is, you hear a lot of black people saying that they want to move towards segregation, and I was like, is that a good move for us as black people to do? And then number two is, why do people hate Kamala Harris so much, the vice president of the United States?
Don't forget the word of segregation. Well, we mean unity. Unite, not segregation.
I know exactly what it means. For myself, understanding the history, Indians, Dominicans, black, white, it always channeled in an area where the whites is really, Caucasian is really like attacking us. We started seeing a lot of them more so when Trump came into the seat. Their true colors. And did it scare me? Of course. I'm a person that had to worry about, my children or what we actually might have had to come to. People were starting to say about keeping guns in the house more so than what they ever had to do, other than fighting against crime. What I don't like is that when people are speaking highly about like this segregation, do's or don'ts, it's your right to do what you feel you want to do, but yet still neither one of us that's on this panel have actually did something to show that how our beliefs can come true. We're talking about it. That's a start. But when we get together, are we going to be the ones, us that's on this panel, forming a group to make things happen for each other as a unity? We talking about it.
That's what I was saying. That was the gist of it. Carmen said a lot of great things. Me and her probably, I'll let her reiterate what she wanted to reiterate. But, I was saying, what does that look like? Because if you say segregation, okay, let's say I'm down. Okay, let me do my part as a black woman. I'm down. Let me do my part as a black woman. And we get into the segregated group. And I'm marrying black. I'm having children by black. Is that man going to do the same? No, he's not. I don't have faith that it's going to be like that. So that right there is not going to work. But I like what Birdman said. It's more so about unity. But I also say all humans are of the same race. That's just my belief.
All right, Ms. T, you say that.
Human race.
I agree, but I disagree.
We are people.
Because all people, like I told you, like I said earlier, God has a favorite people, and those favorite people are the ones that are getting tortured and tormented against. And it's going to happen. Ain't nothing we can do. No marching, like I said, it's going to stop that.
We don't
No,
know
no.
what we don't know because we didn't
Thank you,
speak to God.
Birdman.
But
We,
what I was saying,
we didn't speak to God.
that's why they say you have to separate government
Government.
from the Bible, right? Or
Religion.
from religion. Well,
Mhm.
in the states, you have to separate government from the religion, because if people start reading it hard enough, they'll find out those same people that God was talking about in that Bible is them, not something some man wrote or made up. I mean,
Mhm.
he has a chosen people, but at the same time, he has. I mean, people can be accepted into it. Just like on Unity, you have to be careful about what you say when you say you want to be segregated, because at the same time, the devil can work in that. Like, okay, you want to be separated, so we're going to be against all white people, and that's not how. Like,
I'm
want.
not. Let me ask you a question. Who do you think are the chosen people?
I've already said it. I've said it without saying it.
I know. Okay. I just
But we
these are the last.
listen. Hold on one second. Well, we are here today. We have to move forward.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
have to move forward,
But
and we are all here, and He loves us all. And I'd rather live in that mindset than to live in.
But
and I ain't saying nobody wrong or right. I just rather live in that mindset.
But you know, our downfall as a black people.
Right.
Our downfall as a black people that we are too compassionate. Like my thing is, I'm compassionate towards human beings, but sometimes you have to be strong enough to say, okay, I know that this is a human, but the stuff that they do are wrong, and you have to speak against it. I mean, even if that person that you love or care for, it's white, what are they doing the same thing with you and for you and your group? Like my group of friends on Facebook, I let them all go. Most of them are white. You know why? Because when it came time to stand up for me and stand up for what I believe in and stand up for what I care about, they didn't. I had maybe one or two.
But see, my experience, remember we was talking about experience, and I ain't capping. I'm telling y'all my experience. White people have treated me better than black people. It's my experience. And I'm talking relationships and everything. Better than any black person.
There's a such thing as, you know, our people being prejudiced against their own kind, but at the same time, you know, you're supposed to ignore ignorance.
You do, but it's hard when it's constantly in your face.
That's why.
So my experience, we are the sum of our experience. That's the bottom line. Carmen, did you want to reiterate anything? Because you sitting there quietly.
No, I was just basically to sum this stuff up, like fully support, like, okay, yeah, building your communities, building that generational wealth, everything else. But there's a dangerous and fine line when you start talking about segregation. You're taking 10, 20 steps back.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was saying. I think a lot of people confuse, well, segregation, they think of that, but when, at least my experience, what they mean is, well, no, you know, we got to build the Black community up, you know, get our generational wealth back up, get everything else. That's not segregation. That's not the definition of segregation. So yes, that's fine. Build your communities back up, just like every other ethnicity does.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a difference when you're completely segregated. You cut out other people from other ethnicities that you can learn from, that you can build on, that you can teach everything else. And it takes you 20 steps back.
Yeah, that's how we were saying. I mean, like I said, I was going to shoot for 2 hours. I respect everybody's opinion. Most of all, I respect my own. I respect Commerce. I respect Dez. I respect Butters. I respect Birdman and everybody in the chat. We had a grown up, civilized conversation. Nobody was arguing or in their feelings, because we have to respect how everybody see things. You see things through your lens, and you are the sum of your experiences. And so therefore, you're going to make decisions based from that perspective. But thank y'all for coming in. I wish I was here early talking to Butter and Dez. We had a good little run, but I'm not going to do the 5 hours no more or anything like that. And we look, truth be told, Fridays is my Fridays. I still did what I did, but I maintained my composure and everything. And I put my I did this to y'all when I did that. But and we're gonna be what we gonna be. As long as we grown and respect everybody, we good, right? We good. So I appreciate y'all for chiming in. And y'all check out my latest video for the boxing channel. I will be on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the wellness show. I didn't see you there, Birdman, on Sunday. Matter of fact, I ain't seen you all week.
I gave somebody a pass. I gave both of y'all a pass. I've been working nights. Damn, I just ran over something. I've been working nights, but I'm back.
That sound like an animal. Did you hit an animal?
Some person left some wood in the road and I ran it over.
Oh, thank God. I was going to go,
a
teen. I was about to.
Hey, Dan, hit me on Instagram.
Ooh, oh, yeah.
So we can continue this conversation because I like it.
Yeah, we actually was on our best behavior, and I thank y'all. So
Yes,
y'all enjoy my little video, and hopefully Facebook don't try to get all up under my skin with this bullshit.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Here we
Light
go.
a candle.
But it's shit. Look, I'm not violating, and I don't know. It's somebody hating on me in Facebook, but that's okay. I'm about to be done with Facebook.
We do not own the rights to the music that is playing in this video.
I have the right to use it because it comes with my computer. I didn't steal anything.
No, I'm saying you're always supposed to say that.
Yeah, I don't own the rights, but Facebook, I'm about to be done with you. I'm gonna have to block you in the future. I'm gonna think about it this weekend, though. Maybe I'll give y'all a reprieve. But until Sunday and Monday, when we get to talk about these boxing matches that's going down on this weekend, peace.